Soul Fiend Tegama preys upon the souls of worthy Vrykul. Slay her, and you shall be justly rewarded. Mortals, you have not won. You have only secured your own doom. The fallen souls may float adrift for eternity, but not more by her hand. Thank you, champion. The spirits grow hungry from the scent of all who enter hell. Life, death, I am but one ripple in the eternal ebb and flow. No quarter to these scallywags! Helya doesn't abide intruders! Send in the skeleton beast, my final plunder!
You all will regret trespassing in my realm! You will... I am Lu... Embrace your... No! This is not possible! What manner of creatures are you? Do you think you have won? You have merely survived the storm. The seas are unstoppable!
I can't carry any more of them. I can't carry any more of those. I can't carry any more of those.
All right, and welcome back to episode 70 of The Binge, powered by Wowhead, where World of Warcraft is coming to console. Kinda. In a interesting news, World of Warcraft and all PC games coming to next-gen Xbox console per Windows Central, where there was an article that was basically talking about World of Warcraft being able to play on Xbox in the same way it's available on the Steam Deck, kinda. Where basically the article stated that you'll be able to run PlayStation's PC titles like Gods of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man on the next Xbox box, or purchased via Steam or Epic Games. You'll also potentially be able to play World of Warcraft on the Xbox via Battle.net, which then people took and ran with it. And Squishy also created this insane clickbait title, which we're gonna have to talk about in a sec. But where now people are very mad that the add-ons are being changed, because now they see this as add-ons getting changed under the pretenses that WoW is available on console, which is kind of true.
We must bolster our
The world is backwards today.
Seek out the withered
You guys
and
are
soothe their
animals. I'm a
rage.
real
I
person.
will beckon
WoW
them
is a
to
console
Shalom.
game, and everyone is playing Fellowship.
Dude, that's
Still.
that's the real reason they removed add-ons, right? Like, so that
Yep.
it can get ported. So you know.
Dude,
I mean, the chatters told us they've been saying it in the YouTube comments,
Dark
on
Grove
Twitter,
Druids
in
have
general
turned the
chat,
very
in Dornagal.
flora
They've been
against
telling
us.
us that Blizzard
If they
is
go
turning WoW
unchecked,
into a console
more of
game
the
this whole
forest
time,
will
and
fall
now
to their
here they
treachery.
are to say, "I told you so." It is confirmed that the WoW
Dreadwing
is now a
was once
console game,
beautiful
right, guys?
wood, but now is overrun
Yes.
by
Can't wait to have my
monstrosities of the
McGraw
nightmare.
playing on a controller
cannot
next year during
stand.
midnight. Like, Jang B on controller. How's that gonna go?
Show them
Oh my
how
God,
we
I mean, it's gonna
do
be
it.
easy, right? Because I read that they're nerfing every class, and the Arcane Mage is only gonna be one button. So I just press Barrage, and I bind that to right bumper, and then I have A is jump, and then B is open trade with my raid leader to get my loot, and then I'm good to go.
I personally think that anybody who uses a console, they should get a flag similar to like what the lever penalty is, but instead of a red flag, it's like a controller icon. That way, I can avoid those people.
Dude, they do that in FPS games, and it pisses so many people off because of aim assist. It's so funny.
Yep.
Like,
Wait, do they
unironically.
actually do that in console games? Like, you know who's playing with a controller or not? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And in Call of Duty, at least, I don't know about other shooters, but in Call of Duty, you absolutely can.
In Fortnite, you can't tell who's on console or who's on like PC, but you can tell if you watch them play. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is the whole kind of lot of nothing. I mean, people were already playing on Steam Decks. Realistically, nobody's going to be playing competitive content on a console, regardless. Like, even if you could go through, it would be more viable for like farming mounts, maybe, and stuff like that.
Doing your mission table, you know, if they bring that back
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, something like that. Nobody's doing Mythic Plus, I don't think. On
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, they're not bringing WoW to console. They're bringing Windows to console, which
Yeah.
allows you to play WoW in literally any other game, right? Like, what's funny is people are talking about add-ons, but the way this is set up, you could actually be using add-ons on your console if this is a thing, right? Because it's Windows.
Yeah.
You could use anything that you can, you know what I mean? So this isn't... Basically, from what I understand, people are worried about one of two things. Number one is that they're simplifying the game down and making it worse so that it's playable to do real content on consoles. I just think that's not the case. I just think that'll be impossible. Like, there's not going to be a world where a large number of people are mythic rating or doing high keys on console. I'm sorry, this just is not realistic. The other thing that people might be worried about is, oh, I'm doing X level of content and I have a guy in my run with a controller. And while that might be annoying, I have bad news for you that if you're doing that level of content, there's a chance that some guy with a controller using the one button rotation might actually be better than whoever that you're playing with anyway. So.
I mean, there are add-ons to be able to like utilize controllers in World of Warcraft already. I don't think this is like brand new in any capacity.
Yeah, you
no,
can
yeah, I
already
mean,
play.
you see stuff like that all the time. Yeah, people playing with controllers, healers deciding that they're never gonna play with, like, you know, any damage buttons. People clicking all their abilities. Like, you play with on purpose, you know, whatever disadvantaged players all the time in keys. Like, this isn't gonna change anything.
Dude, I'd rather play with somebody using the one button rotation on a console than play with somebody who's clicking their fucking abilities. Like, let me be honest here.
Remember that DDR guy who played WoW on like a DDR pad?
Somebody did that?
I remember it vaguely. I remember that vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick. I missed that. I missed that a lot.
What is this? I'm pulling it up on YouTube.
All sorts of other stuff.
This guy's literally leveling on a DDR pad.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, I mean, people did that. They did Rock Band controllers, Guitar Hero controllers, like, yeah. Cool.
I mean,
cool
realistically, like Tuttle said too, it's only a win, right? Like, I think this will give you the ability to like log in and chat and like AFK and Dornagal on your couch or like, you know, whatever, farm mounts and shit in bed. Like, you're not gonna. I mean, I don't know. You can try to do keys or whatever, but chances are like it's not gonna go.
Dude,
very
this is
well.
the biggest nothing burger I've ever seen.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
nobody's. Okay, I won't say nobody. I bet less than 0.5% of the population are gonna play WoW on a console. Also, if you're a WoW player, you've probably been a WoW player for minimum like 15 years, and you have a PC.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Okay.
But everybody is outraged. It is like we had to clickbait it. We had to talk about it. Like it
It's
is
probably
just
going. It's probably
sweeping
going in the
Twitter.
title. It's probably going in the
Oh
title.
yeah, no, 100% it is. WoW going to console? Question mark! Exclamation point! Like, oh yeah, for sure.
Are we console gamers now?
Again, that's why add-ons were removed, right? That's the canon that people are saying.
Another week, another bench episode where if we can't talk about resilient keys, we got to talk about add-ons, I think. So
Yep.
there have been some other interesting developments in regards to add-ons. ElvUI, the development of ElvUI is now being put on hold. We would need to see major changes from Blizzard very soon to be able to actually provide the UI replacements our users want. So, you know, the developers of ElvUI are basically saying that we're going to put the project on hold. We're not doing this anymore. And then I saw a blog post, I think, or maybe it was like a post on Reddit where they explained some more of their thoughts, and something that they said was like, we're not gonna, Blizzard's also looking for consultation from add-on developers. We're not providing free consultation for your paid employees. And I was like, oh my God.
So that was from the creative OUF, I think, which is not really a well-known add-on, but it's like the structure for every nameplate and raid frame add-on out there. And they decided that they're not going to maintain it with the Blizzard changes, basically. So, if you don't know, raid frames and nameplates are pretty locked down on the add-on front. They don't even let you customize it like Blizzard said they would, which is part of why people are so frustrated.
Yes, I mean, I was having this discussion the other day. Like, it's. Do we think that Ian lied whenever he was like, no, weak auras and other add-ons that you've been using for a long time are not going away?
I think... Go for it.
I was gonna say that I think this is a really hard one. First of all, I think it was absolutely a little bit misleading.
It is
Absolutely,
misleading
I
at
think it was,
minimum,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that I think for some unknown percentage of the player base, most of the add-ons they care about aren't really affected. Like, yeah, you might use ElvUI, but there will be some type of UI, like all-in-one thingy that you can download that looks nice, right? Like, ElvUI is not the only thing that exists of this type or will exist. And same thing with, like, you know, your loot console or whatever. Like, a lot of the things that people are like, okay, your weak aura that tracks your collectible profession points for the week. Like, I think a lot of these things will still exist. Unfortunately, when it comes to weak auras, I think a lot of them are gonna go back to like being their own standalone add-ons rather than being able to just like import it in game, which is gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if what Ian was saying was like, you know, as broadly to the entire player base, like most of the stuff that you use is fine. But, you know, to the, let's call it like the mid-core, like especially the demographic of the people that listen to this, right? It was like, you care enough about the game that you're listening to a podcast and you want to hear about it. So chances are, like, you probably do use some cybernetic enhancements in your gameplay. You know, there's something that you got going on, whether it's color-coded nameplates or some, you know, special weak auras or whatever.
Yeah.
So definitely most of the people listening to this will be affected and will feel like they were misled or lied to by Ian, because that is not the case.
I mean, he was like, "Are weak auras being canned?" He was like, "No." What was Squishy gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, I don't think Ian was lying. Like, I don't think Ian ever lies. I think he stretches the truth or leaves out important information at times.
I'm out of range.
Like, at worst. But like, I don't think he ever lies. I think like he fully believes that is the case, and either it's not implemented yet, or that is a design goal for the future that just isn't ready yet. And I think that's the problem.
I also think that he was under the impression that weak auras and LVI were probably going to maintain, like, I think that he was thinking that they were not going to like completely shut down their add-on development, right? And they would just kind of conform to the rules that Blizzard is putting in place, and all the people at weak auras and LVI are now like, no, we are not maintaining this add-on. We're no longer happy with the current state of where add-ons are situated.
Yeah. I mean, like, some things are a lot less locked down than others. Like, Bigwigs has been working for a while, that's fine. There's a working nameplate add-on already. But the stuff that people, you know, are still missing are those, are the raid frames
Yeah.
and unit frames, of which those are locked down super hard, which is something that LGY and add-ons like Cell and stuff like that, like,
Even the fierce
they
heart of
don't
Ursa
know what's
has
going on
succumbed.
anymore.
I mean,
I know-
Cell's got to be gone, right? Given what that add-on was.
Truly, there was never a
Theoretically, the
soul
majority of
more
it, yes.
noble than Ursa.
But like they've said, you're supposed to be able to
I pray his
customize it,
spirit finds
colors,
its way
that kind of
back to
thing.
the dream.
But like, you can't even color your your raid frames right now. That like there is no raid frame add-on that will work.
By color your raid frames, what do you mean specifically?
This
or
was
like,
the Emerald Dream.
Basically, like
mean
change
textures?
Yeah, textures. General border color, general background, like font size, font color, like obviously you can't see name, debuffs, like that kind of health.
You can't change health text at all either.
Yeah, but if you say wanted your entire raid frame to be orange with a really thick background with with
Oh,
Comic
Cassandra.
Sans font,
How cruel
that's
fate can
something
be.
that it was implied by
Cleansed of the
Blizzard that you
nightmare
could
once
do,
before,
and that is
only
not
to
something
become
you
its
could do
fate
right now.
yet
Okay,
again.
that seems wrong.
Some
Like
Yeah,
that,
to me,
truly
to me, I hear that and like
May you
I
find
understand
peace
that
at
Blizzard
last.
has a history of under-delivering, and we sort of see the pattern of them feeling a
What
bit
manner
rushed for
of
this. So it's
foul
definitely
creature is
possible
this?
that these features aren't rolled out on release. But to me, this doesn't seem like the intention of what they're doing, right? Like, if it so happens that the frame add-ons are so shit for the first season or whatever, that could be the case. But I don't think that was their intention, was to not allow you to change textures and skins and stuff. I think that's just like a coming soon kind of a thing.
It's too far away.
I don't know if I'm so willing to give them the benefit of the doubt here. I mean, I know that you kind of did there with that statement. At the same time, like,
This time I'm ready for your
I think
treachery.
that they need to get their shit in order with these add-ons, right? Like, I think that they are making the right decisions and they're going in the right direction with
The
add-ons.
illusion of corruption
But I don't think that
falls
this is
away.
something that you can, like, get to 90% and then just let it ride. You need to, like, make sure that add-ons are near perfect with what your stated design goals are. Now, near perfect is, you know, kind of subjective to what players want, and players all the time are like, I don't know why they're not just keeping add-ons until you know, until the in-game systems are fully developed. I will not defend that. I think that that is like a stupid way of approaching it. Blizzard should just knuckle down and make sure that this is perfect for launch. Like, I'm not like this is not something that they can really afford to fuck up. Like, if they believe that they were in a position where they're ready to remove add-ons, they need to be like, okay, everything is going to be correct.
yeah. I mean,
I just think that everybody's list of what is correct and what is perfect is different.
Well, we
and
did
I
get
think that
we got a blue post this week, right, talking about what they wanted for the state of add-ons, which I think we're gonna have to cover in a little bit too. Yep.
yeah, for sure we'll talk about this. I just think that for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, UI just isn't really that important. You know, like a UI being 90% good is sort of like what every other game does. You know, like no other game allows you that level of customization that WoW does or did, I guess. And while it's gonna feel bad when that goes away and it's like, oh, I can't do this, it's like, you know, well, every other game that you've played, you've had extremely other limited things, right? And just the idea that, like, well, yeah, at some point we'll be able to retexture everything and refont everything and have it look like nice. Like, to me, that's
Big
you
ad.
know, that's fine. I do understand though that a lot of people like that stuff, and that's a much bigger blow to them than it is to me. But I just think it's being a little bit overblown, and I think that if, you know, I think the first time that you set up a new character and you realize how quick and easy it is, or you have a friend that comes back to the game and he's like, wow, that was super easy, and you can jump in and play with him right away, you're gonna realize the upsides to this, even though there are downsides as well.
Yeah, like the raid frames thing is interesting because, you know, as Tuttle showed earlier, there was a blog post and they released what looks like updated raid frames, and they look pretty good. But like
Please
the
change.
customization that people have available might not be what it's clearly not the level that people had previously.
Of course.
You know, maybe people want bigger raid frames. Maybe, you know, you have trouble seeing that size font. You should be able to make the size of the names bigger. Like, that is the level of stuff that I think people want, that I think is pretty harmless at giving. Because there are some base options, but it is pretty lackluster right now. We'll have to see what happens when this happens here.
Yeah, and we're I think I have one last thing, and then we'll start talking about this blue post and see, what they said. For me, how I view this is like I rank this like 1 to 100. Like with 100, like it's like how important is this thing for my enjoyment in the game? For me, playing with friends, probably the most important thing. I'll say that's 80% of my enjoyment of the game is playing with my friends. 5% might be a really good Mythic Plus season. 5% might be a really good raid. And then I sit there and I think about it. How much of my enjoyment of the game is the UI? And then I sat there and I thought about that. And I'm like, it's probably 1%. It might be even less than 1%. Or how much of my enjoyment from the game comes from the UI. And it's kind of the same thing with like class design in a way, where the classes are a vehicle for me to be able to play the game. But the class design itself it tends to be a very small thing, like in the grand scheme of things, for why I'm having fun or not having fun in the game. And realistically, if it was a huge piece of why I was having fun or not having fun in the game, I would probably be more willing to re-roll than I am in most normal seasons. And that's kind of the way I've been thinking about it. It's like, I could get into a lather about add-ons and get upset about it because they're not perfect and they're not the way that I want them to be. But realistically, I would be willing to quit the game over add-ons being bad. And so it's like, in Blizzard making the game fun, and this is a very subjective thing, fun is always, but like, my ability to be able to play with my friends and just the Blizzard making the game fun, I think is a way bigger thing for me than any bullshit about add-ons.
I think there's a lot of people who reacted very negatively to this. Like, there were a surprising number of, I'm just gonna quit this game if I can't like customize my UI. And like, it was on Reddit, and I don't know how much of that is truth, how much of that is hyperbole, and how much of it is exaggeration. But like, I think things will start to settle once beta starts. And all we've got is betas soon. But realistically, I think people need to try it. And then you will know what you feel like you're missing, because any change in the world, when YouTube updates its fucking subscription screen to make slightly smaller boxes or slightly bigger things, people freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
Including me. Like, everybody is like, yeah, like, or Facebook changes their timeline, or Twitter changes its... Yeah, Discord font, Discord size, like Discord adds a new notification sound. Like, any kind of change people are going to react negatively to until they get to try it. And I feel like the majority of the time, unless it's horrific, people will learn to accept it. And we'll just have to see if that's true for WoW, or people are actually that upset about it, and Blizzard made a massive misstep.
Do we think that this is going to make people more or less mad than Covenants, the changes to UI?
People right now,
this is much less bad, right? Because I think the upsides to Covenants are, I think, a lot less, and the impact on your gameplay is a lot less as well. I don't know. I really love the way that you worded that, about the way that you broke down like your enjoyment of the game, because it's important to note though that we all think of things differently though. Like, you commented on your class being fun, or class design in general is like kind of important. Like, you like having a fun class, but it's ultimately like not going to be the make or break for you.
In the grand scheme of the game, how big is it? Like,
but I know a lot of people who that is the case, right? Who's like, they come back to the game and they like a certain class or a couple classes, and they're like, I just don't have fun playing this. I don't want to play, and like, so that is like, different people weigh in differently. So this isn't us telling you guys how to think. It is a little bit, but mostly because we just want you to stay positive and give it a chance and see how things go, right? Like, we're not saying you're wrong for having UI be an important thing or being a lot of fun, but we're more just, there's not really a big point in dooming. Like, I'm not sure if people think that if they complain and outrage, like, Blizzard will just be like, fine, and push all the papers off their desk, you can have your plater, and then everything just comes back. Like, I don't know what people think is going to happen. Maybe, I mean, the thing is, I guess I don't necessarily mind it in terms of the overall health of the game, because if anything, this is putting a ton of pressure on Blizzard to do a good job, right? Like, everyone being so almost violently against this add-on change is really making them prioritize this as like more than they ever would, I think, for the expansion, which is a good thing, right? Like, I want them to do that. But for your guys' enjoyment, don't be too up in arms about this. Like, at the end of the day, it's gonna be WoW. You're gonna do some dungeons, do some raids, get some loot, like hang out with your buds. That's gonna be most of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the numbers for like how important you find things are going to be different for each and every single person, right? Like, for me, I didn't care that much about classes, but for you, classes might be 10% of your enjoyment of the game or something like that. And like, oh, that's pretty significant. And like, if your class feels like shit, Shadow Priest sucks now, and you're like, I don't want to play. Valid. Everybody has the reasons that they play and they don't play, and it's just about being able to like. Nothing's going to be perfect. It's just the moral of the story here. Nothing's going to be perfect, and you just really need to figure out what is important to you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the blog that Blizzard posted. And this is something that we were actually discussing a few weeks ago, where they were making all these changes to add-ons, and the changes were kind of under the table, sent to add-on developers and like notes, but they weren't really ever public as to what their design goal with the add-ons was. And it felt like, WoW players have a tendency to just love communication. They love to be in the know about each and every single thing as it happens. And we felt like it was a little bit strange that they didn't necessarily say what their intended design goals were for add-ons, but they came through and they released a blog post. Squishy, what do you think some of the high points of this post were?
So they finally basically announced everything. Finally. After all this, they're like, yeah, our goal is to remove combat add-ons. If you scroll back up to near the top, there's a really interesting distinction that they did there, which is like combat is an important distinction here, as we have done our best to avoid interfering with access to non-combat information. And I think this is where a lot of people get tripped up, personally, because combat includes stuff like coloring nameplates based on what they do. Because that is an inherent advantage to know what mobs do. And instead, there's been a recent trend even recently of like, instead of seeing, arcane volley, you change that text of the spell to be kick.
Volley.
Or volley, or something. Just like, there's this trend of people just change the name of every spell into this homogenized kick, dodge, bait, spread. Like, you don't actually know what the boss does. You just know that this boss is casting spread right now, and you should be spread. And so, like, there's this weird balance between accessibility and also gameplay that Blizzard is trying to balance here. And that is, I think, the hard part. Where are they going to land here? And we have half the battle right now with the add-ons, but we haven't seen the other half, which is how are the encounters going to look?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that's going to be a huge distinction. And I mean, we've been speculating about what changes Blizzard should be looking to make to the encounters, but yeah, we really haven't seen anything. I mean, there's one raid boss available for testing, and there's normal dungeons. I'd get less information, frankly, if I went and did the normal dungeons. Like, not more. I would certainly learn absolutely nothing from doing the normal dungeons.
Yeah, there's a lot of so one thing I think a major negative about this post is the thing that I've been harping basically nonstop since they talked about this is blacklist, whitelist for debuffs and buffs, for party frames, for nameplates, and for your personal display. And while they did talk about a lot of their stated design goals here, those words and that idea was completely absent from this post as far as I know. And that's a little bit concerning for me. I think especially because people just want to see different things.
Yes.
And WoW can be, like, some people really like the complexity and the minutia of little things, and some people want things more simple. And to say that everyone should see the same information is, like, sort of true, but at the same time, like, you might not want to see something that someone else wants to see. Like, for example, let's say your FLO is on somebody, right? Like, ultimately, it doesn't really change your decision making for if your FLO is on somebody very, like, almost ever. But, like, maybe you just want to see it, or maybe that does help you understand who's standing in it and who's not. Like, it's not really changing your gameplay, but, what one person thinks is clutter, another person might think is vital. And I think that, like buffs, for example, too, like, let's say you get a proc and it gives you 8% intellect. Like, should you see that? Like, is that how do you prioritize
or like a
that?
weapon proc or something, right? Not even necessarily something that's native to your character.
that's something that actually a couple of things. I know we talk about Fellowship and people are probably getting sick of it, but they had this exact problem in Fellowship where you have a buff bar and it's just all your buffs, and eventually you get to the end game and you have all these weapon procs and set bonuses and all this stuff, and you just have 12 buffs on your character just like you do in WoW, right? And it's like, okay, there's one buff that's really important that you need to see, and it's just flooded in this sea of buffs. Also is this a skill though? Like, is this gonna be what makes you a good WoW player, is being able to decipher through the information? So like another mechanic in Fellowship, and this is something that Tettles might not enjoy, is so there's a dungeon where there's a debuff that if you don't dispel it, the guy blows up and dies, okay? And there's another debuff that's like basically nothing, and it's just on people all the time. And the icons are like eerily similar to the point where I think the devs did it on purpose, where there's like one debuff that's kind of flooding your frames and always going on and off people, that's like whatever. It's just, and then there's another debuff that is like the most important debuff you could ever see as a healer. And is that a skill? Like, is that a mechanic that is in the game? Like, on one hand, you could say that that's really annoying and stupid, and that's like a troll thing to do and get really frustrated by that. But you could also say, like, I don't know, like, you know, that's the dungeon. Like, that's the mechanic. Like, just do it, healer. Like, just look at the fucking icon and dispel the right ones. Like, it's not that hard, you know? Why do you need an air horn? Why do you need to filter out the one? Like, that defeats the purpose of the mechanic. It's not so hard to just dispel the debuff when you see it, because that's the only, you know... It's just interesting to think about, you know, like with frontals, for example. One thing in the game now is everything is telegraphed on the ground. You know, like you can just stare at your character's feet in your weak aura pack and you can see whenever you need to dodge. You never need to look at the mobs. But for so long in WoW, you needed to look at the mobs. Like, you couldn't just look at your feet. You needed to see, like, oh, this big guy is shooting a tornado at you, or like a big frontal. And is visibility better? I mean, yeah, for sure. Like, it feels more fair when you get hit, but at the same time, they lose that ability to, you know, make that mechanic and that thing. And I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of times we're winding down their design space and stopping them from doing things that, you know, then we complain about bolts, and then we complain about archers. And it's like, basically every single thing that kills us, we complain about. And while sometimes it feels unfair or stupid or whatever, you know, we can't just take away literally every single mechanic that isn't a swirly or like a pulsing, you know, AoE raid damage or whatever.
Yeah. Do something? Okay. It's really interesting that you brought up skill of like a blacklist in my list, because that was the point that I was going to bring up too. It's just like Blizzard gets to decide what is considered the skill that they want to test in this game.
Yeah.
You know, even we've talked about it before. The Theater of Pain tornado, like the trash back in Shadowlands had this tornado where it points in a direction and it fires a tornado.
Jesus.
And like, I would say that thing had like a 50% hit rate, and it just kills you because it knocks you off the platform. In when was it? This expansion? War Within, right?
Second season.
Yeah, season 2 of War Within, they brought the dungeon back and added a line telegraph on the ground where that tornado was going. Death rates dropped to like 0% on that thing.
Oh, nobody ever got hit by it. Like, that was the thing where in Shadowlands, I played some amount of Priest, and I would pride myself in like that awareness of getting ready to grip somebody, right? And I would not only dodge the tornadoes, but then I would also be like, oh, this monkey's standing here, and I would be quick enough to grip him back to the platform before he dies.
Target
right?
you.
Yep.
And I remember that dungeon came back, and I immediately got that feeling of like, oh, I'm ready. I'm gonna grip. I'm gonna get these guys back. You know, this priest was good.
Defensive.
And then,
Charging.
no one ever got hit by it ever, like a single time. You have to be like stunned or womboed to get hit by it, right? And it's like, yeah, people have gotten better at M+, but I don't think they've gotten that much better. Like, I'm pretty sure it's actually insane how big of a difference. Like, it basically isn't even a mechanic in the tornado, right? Like, compared to Shadowlands, if anyone remembers and they played in Pugs, like that took out people all the time. Really good ass players died to that stupid frontal tornado, and now like you don't even see people get hit by it ever. And I know there's some guy in the comments, you don't know what it's like in tens. Everyone gets hit by that tornado still, but I genuinely think that it reduced the kill rate of that tornado by like 97% or something like. Maybe 1 out of every 50 people died to it now that used to.
and that's kind of what I think a blacklist and whitelist comes from. It's just like
Watch your
people
step.
have a desire to be optimal, which
Interrupt.
means that you want more debuff filtering.
Watch
but
your step.
in reality, what people want is the ability to customize more, which is something
Watch
that
your
Blizzard might
step.
not want, because that's the whole point of pulling this away.
It's
Like,
just
I don't know where Blizzard lands. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I mean, just to jump in here, I think it's just annoying that
Watch
the
your
only
step.
way that you get buff and debuff tracking is based off of what Blizzard has determined are essential
your
spells
step.
for you to be able to track. And, like, that
Yeah.
to me feels
Watch your step.
weird because you're like, well, you've determined that I don't care about this trinket proc. You've determined that I don't care about this weapon effect or whatever. And it's just like,
Watch your step.
is that really what you want to be limiting
Watch
from
your
player
step.
skill? And I think the answer is largely no.
Watch your step.
Like, I understand why they don't want you tracking other people's stuff, but I feel like from your individual character, you've just made it
Watch
harder
your
because
step.
now you have to be looking at your buff bar, or your buff bar needs to be a more integral part of your UI, which
Interrupt.
there's so much bullshit on my buff bar anyways, and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, but like, there is technically ways around it, but it's more work, right? Like, they could implement blacklist, whitelist, so you can see, number of stacks of this trinket proc, or, maybe you die at 6 stacks, or like 5 stacks of a debuff on a boss, and if you go cleanse or something, you could, you might have to track your debuffs, and then you see the lust debuff, you see a random dot, you see like random like debuff procs, but like, there are other ways that Blizzard could show you how many debuff stacks you have. Right? Like, you could see pillars above your head, orbs flowing around you. Like, realistically, if they go to this world, there are options that Blizzard doesn't need to show you the debuffs via a number on a debuff bar, because let's face it, that is also immersion breaking in the same way that an air horn is. Right? Like, if you die at 5, like, it starts to put 4 orbs around you, and at 4 orbs, it tints your screen to say that the next the next stack kills you. Cleanse now.
Okay, now that what you're saying is a possibility. I'm gonna go out and say I don't trust
Knocking
Blizzard to
back.
make it where
Totally fair.
Where I know about my trinket proc has happened. Like, say it's a trinket that's impactful. More often than not, trinkets aren't very impactful. But say there's a trinket that has a proc that's impactful. That's not
Reckon
some
coming.
stat gain nonsense that's on an RPPM.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would want to know that it's proc. There's a reason that I'm wearing it, and there is a way for me to find out the information. You've just made it very hard even for me to figure it out, because now I'm looking through my buffs in the top right. I'm just like, the keen-eyed gamer. Oh no, I can't see. Do I have the buff or not?
I mean, the devil's advocate there, though, is that is a different measure of skill. Is it fun? Probably not. But like, if Blizzard wants to take that route, they could just be looking to change the way skill happens. I don't think it is, because that doesn't sound like a great gameplay, but
I'm with
possibility.
you. I'm with you that it's not super black and white in that way. Like, I do tend to agree. Something else that they hit on inside of this article as well, they started talking about accessibility, where they were going to say that they had continued support for text-to-speech. They were adding new features in Midnight to talk about audio alerts, which Squishy brought up last week. There are also ways to play sounds when you gain or lose a secondary resource, or like combo points, and to announce your target's health, name, and more. Accessibility is an interesting one because, like, it's kind of the same issue that we had with the one-button rotation whenever they originally announced it. Some players' accessibility can be other players' competitive advantage, right? And I think that you really have to worry about, especially related to text-to-speech, things becoming that competitive advantage for players, and players who don't need the accessibility utilizing it because it is a competitive advantage. And it's a little bit of a line that Blizzard's gonna have to walk here, but at the same time, it can't be a competitive advantage. I think that that's also just kind of the point of the argument here, right?
So this is not me trying to argue or be hostile. I'm just genuinely trying to understand. What accessibility does text-to-speech add?
For people who are partially blind, I think that text-to-speech can add some additional functionality that otherwise wouldn't have existed.
Okay.
Which,
yeah, I'm not part of this. Like, I was reading some...
It's valid. It's just
the stuff that they've said here, I don't think could be used in any kind of combat, authority to go further. Like, to Grau's point, I was reading the thread on Reddit And it seems like a lot of people who have trouble focusing on certain aspects of the screen, because a lot of the text on the screen is kind of small at times, or have trouble seeing certain mechanics, or colorblind is a big one, because let's face it, Blizzard's colorblind settings aren't great. I think those are the ones that I remember, but I'm sure there's more, obviously. But like that will allow you to, this text-to-speech allows you to compensate for that lack of ability.
Yeah, and I do agree here that nothing that they stated in this is like, oh, okay, this is going to be actually give a competitive advantage to anybody who's looking to use it. I think that there are, we saw it with boss mods, right, where boss mods read out the ability for you. That is a strict competitive advantage once you start adding TTS to things like that.
Yeah, I guess the way I see it is anywhere where they're actually helping those people, I think it becomes a competitive advantage, right? Like they mentioned, like when you gain or lose a secondary resource, like I guess I feel like for those people, especially like partially blind or partially deaf or like that category, like to me, that's what you're looking for, is to be able to help you figure out what's going on in a whole mesh of combat, right? Like that's essentially what that, but then either it gives you a competitive advantage or it's not covered here. And so that I'm just sort of wondering where they're going with this, I guess, and that's sort of my question is like, I don't know, like, not to, like, I mean, let's just say it, right? This is the elephant in the room. Like, dude, you do a 12. I would argue that the people in my 12 keys have problems seeing the fucking puddles on the ground, right? Like, is that accessibility for them? Like, I'm sorry, but it's just, like, everybody needs help.
Not accessibility
and it will help everybody. Well, I'm just saying, like, this is tough, right? Like, this is tough. And I think that I guess, I don't know. I hope that they're working with people and getting people testing these things, like color blindness, right? Like, who the hell am I to say anything about how they should do colorblind or what's good or what's bad for colorblind people, right? Like, it's ridiculous that there was like situations where you turn on colorblind mode for some bosses because the visibility is so bad, but ultimately, like, they just need to get really good feedback and get people in there. I wonder if that's a thing that they, like, how you take those surveys or whatever and like they give alpha and beta to specific people or whatever, like hopefully they're having people test these things and they can actually roll out with features that are useful to them that are not. It's just something that like I just can't really give feedback or help in any way other than just wonder, like, how did they, like, I'm pretty sure the most important thing for those people would be the stuff that would be the most impactful during combat, right? Like, that's what they would be looking for.
That is the thing that like is important, is it's not the TTS outside of combat. Most of the time it's like, oh yeah, the whenever you're in high pressure situations where combat is occurring, that's the point where you need the help.
Yeah, and it's a really tough spot because based on the last conversation that we had as well, Blizzard gets to choose where the new skill lies. What is the nature of skill at WoW? Is TTS going to be a part of it? And I think like it's just Blizzard trying to figure out from the PR perspective, how do we accomplish our goal of reducing combat, combat add-ons to make an easier new player experience, to reduce the load on new players and casual players and all that, that kind of stuff, while losing the fewest number of people due to accessibility? Because as Growl has pointed out, accessibility does come and I don't know how Blizzard is going to do this.
It just comes at ends to their goal, right? Like, if their goal is to remove things that are assisting you that while you're playing the game, like, this is the casualty, right? Like, accessibility is the casualty. Like, where do you draw the line? And ultimately, you don't, right? Like, things that help anybody, like, we all want sort of the same things and to improve in the same ways, Like, we all want to see what's going on better. We all want to, configure the game to give us the information the exact way that is easiest for us, right? And it's definitely a little bit of a privilege that we have. If we can hear and see everything that's going on, we just may prefer one way or the other, and some people can't at all. But ultimately, it's this is that ends with their goal here, and it's just hard. Like it's just such an annoyingly sticking point of a subject for this whole thing that like I don't know what you really do about it other than just rip it out and then just get people testing it and see how far they can go to help them without impacting what their goals are.
I think that the accessibility stuff is gonna.
Before.
Yeah, I think that WoW is a very unique game where most games, like, you look at any other long-standing game, and they only have really fucking terrible accessibility options. You're just kind of shit out of luck. But World of Warcraft has kind of always been that game that has had accessibility options for players, and if those end up getting removed, and now you can't play the game where you otherwise could, that has to feel like shit too. Like, this is a tough solve for them.
The accessibility that was gained, which made World of Warcraft such a great game to so many people, was made by the add-on API in a lot of cases, developed by the people who needed it the most. But it also caused quite a problem when people started using that API to also stopped playing the game and made a computer do it for them. So it's just like it's a lose-lose situation for Blizzard, and they think this is the better option, and honestly, we'll see if it works out for them.
Yeah, I just hope that everybody's not using TTS. I think that's kind of the end result of this. I accept their continued focus on accessibility, but like, I hope that I hope it's not optimal for 100% of players to also use the accessibility TTS, because it makes the game easier to play, because then that feels like that's like a mismanagement of what it was supposed to be.
Release him.
I think it comes down to the encounters. People always choose the easiest route.
Yep.
And if the easiest route is download a third-party program so you can use weak auras outside of the game in some kind of launcher, like, that will be what people do, right? If they make another Fire Act, how the fuck are you supposed to do that intermission without some kind of assignment? They're going to use something. Somebody's going to build something and everybody's going to use it. But if they make things a lot easier, like we saw in, for the majority of bosses in Manaforge, where you could do assignments on the fly, you have, 7 to 8 seconds for Starkiller swing to drop it, or to drop it in the right spot, it'll probably be okay. Yeah. Like, why would I install a weak aura when I have 8 seconds to walk to a marker, right? Like, I don't need something telling me to do that. So I don't know. We'll have to see, but people are always going to choose the path of least resistance.
I mean, I'm interested to see what kind of cheats people come up with, because ultimately, like, this stuff is going to turn into cheats, right? And so
Sneak.lua.
There are some. I think that there will be some cheats. I've heard of some workarounds already.
Yeah, like I was kind of thinking about this the other day, and I kind of feel like cheats almost like is relative to like the community and the way people perceive the game and all that. Like, technically you could look at a game like Counter-Strike and Overwatch or whatever and like actually build things that are pretty useful for the game, right? Like, for example, in Counter-Strike you could have like a timer weak aura that like at the X seconds of every round it tells you where they could be, or like it tells you how long, like, can they safely get to A and plant the bomb from here, from where they're standing, right? Like, you could have these like weird weak auras that are probably very, very helpful, but like you're just used to figuring that out in your head, and like the idea of doing that in game is like so ridiculous. Like, any Counter-Strike player would, if you're like, what if you had a weak aura that would like blip every time someone could get down banana, and you'd know that they were there to remind you to like be in the right position or whatever, and it's like they would just look at you like you're an idiot. But in WoW, we're used to these weak auras and stuff. We're used to these being able to set up custom timers and remind us to do stuff, and so when Blizzard takes those away, I mean, people are going to be looking for that, right? Like, people are going to be like, oh, how do I get this back? How do I get an improved Tequila back? How do I get liquid reminders that tells, which actually might still be in the game, but you get my point, right? And so people will have this on their mind, people will be working on this stuff, and it's like it's kind of weird to think, right? Like, well, at the end of the day, I don't know, if you want to cheat against monsters, you're playing against the computer at the end of the day. Like,
yeah.
If you want to cheat against the computer, go ahead, I guess. I don't know, it's funny, I guess, I don't know.
The elephant in the room is realistically screen readers. Those exist in other games. Like, Diablo 3 had it, like, I think Final Fantasy has a version of it. Those are probably going to be the most prominent if they are required. Because they can realistically detect when you have a debuff and then perform computational stuff on it. We hope that it doesn't come to that, but Blizzard could also try to cut that off at the head by making a statement about it if it happens. Because realistically, it would, if they make a statement about it, it would fall within the terms of service and stuff like that. But that is kind of up to Blizzard.
What's up with the anti?
It's weird, right?
I mean,
like thinking about party frames, right? Like let's just say that they go full apocalypse, right? They lock down party frame.
Yeah.
I mean, you could easily build a screen reader that looks and it goes, oh, does this person have a dispellable disease or whatever, and then it puts an overlay on your screen that colors the frame, and so you see, even though you couldn't do that, now you see your whole frame as, you know, just like people are used to. Or like big debuffs, for example, right? It'll move the debuff off of your frame and make the icon fucking huge for important debuffs, right? So you know when you need to do like a fast dispel or whatever. And that's easily something that a screen reader could read, see that someone has a debuff, put a giant overlay of that icon to the right so to make those important debuffs really, really big, right? Like this is something that I assume people are going to be working on, that, you know, like, or at least like will have on their minds that they'll think about. And I mean, I've been playing games for a long time, and the tools nowadays, I can only fucking imagine the kind of like cheats and stuff that you could design for games now compared to what was, you know, people were cheating and map hacking and stuff back in 2005 on Brood War or whatever. Like, I don't even want to know what they could come up with nowadays.
It's a very slippery slope, and it's down to Blizzard to make sure their encounters are not hard to do normally. Because let's say they ban screen readers. Well, what's next? Maybe they find the perfect way to detect screen readers. Well, everybody has a fucking phone now, and you can realistically just grab your phone and film your screen and attach something to that. There's no way for them to detect that.
Dude, imagine you're somebody who plays like competitive Counter-Strike, and you're just listening to a bunch of people who play against computers talking about recording their screen with their phone. They screen read the information so that we know what the computers are doing.
Realistically, that is not going to happen, probably. But like, if you think about it, but if you think about it, like that's the kind of slippery slope thinking that happens if Blizzard continues to make encounters too hard, right? Like, people will naturally look for the thing that makes them get through the fight easier, because that's what people are used to. And so I think Blizzard really needs to manage this very carefully, and it starts by making encounters that are not fucking difficult in terms of the intellect component.
All right. Well, in terms of making encounters easier, Blizzard has gone ahead and said, you know what? There actually are too many kicks in the game, and Blizzard has removed healer interrupts from the game. Basically, all healer kicks got removed except for Shaman's Wind Shear, which got put at a 30-second cooldown. By the way, that was crazy that they put it at a 30-second cooldown. And this, I saw a lot of negative sentiment towards this, but then I also actually saw a decent amount of positive sentiment towards this. I think that I want Growl to tackle what were both sides of the arguments here in regards to healer kicks being removed.
Yeah, so I mean, the upside of it being removed is this is one less thing on your cognitive load, right? As a healer, like as a DPS, you're looking at your rotation, right? And then you're looking at sort of like your character in the battlefield, right? As a healer, you're looking at your rotation, you're looking at your character in the battlefield, and you're also looking at your frames, right? There's a lot of very important information on your frames that you need to look at. And so your overall battlefield awareness of like your character is going to be less on average than a DPS or a tank, because they don't have to gather that information from their frames. You know, you might call that healer movement or healer brain or whatever, but that, you know, that's just the fact of the matter is, as a healer, your eyes are on your frames and you're paying attention to those. And with the removal of tools, it's going to be harder to be doing good kicks as a healer, right? Like I've talked about this, kick weak aura, or, you know, ways to assist you as a healer. If you don't have some crazy focus bar, weak aura, and reminder and telling you when your kick is up and stuff, you're going to be a lot less useful, and it's going to be a lot more stressful as a healer to be using your kick effectively. And that's sort of the why they're removing it. The downside is, I mean, everybody always wants as much agency as possible, right? Like, if you're some guy who's doing a 13 and you just want as many tools as you can to help you, and when there's an important cast and your team doesn't kick it and you're standing there as a healer with your dick in your hand and you don't even have a way to stop it, it feels terrible. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are scared of that situation. Unfortunately, my opinion is that when you're doing Mythic Plus dungeons or raids or any team game, you have to like come to the realization that you are at the mercy of your teammates. Everybody is dependent on each other, and you need people to execute a minimum level of skill to complete the challenge.
Phase 2.
And unfortunately, you know,
Phase
kicking
3.
is just a small part of it. So I don't think you're, you know, sort of like the UI thing. I don't think your life is going to change that much as a healer if you have to kick. I mean, another thing about healer is like, okay, let's say you're a DPS and you're casting a spell, right? And then it's like, oh no, I need to cancel my cast to kick. Yeah, it sucks, but ultimately, like, you know, that's not going to change your party. Well, let's say you're a healer and you're casting this big AoE heal on your party and a kick is going off, and now you're like, well, do I cancel this big AoE heal and potentially let my team die, or this big tank heal and let my tank die, or do I kick this cast? And it's like, that's also a very frustrating dichotomy or like situation as a healer to go through. So yeah, I'm for this change. But I can kind of understand people not liking the agency, or not liking the, you know, the power of their kick being removed.
Yeah.
It definitely makes sense.
I mean, we had some interesting tweets. JB stating that kicking isn't fun, and healers have been gaslit by DPS into wanting to do it. Like when you trick your kids into doing chores by acting like they're cool and fun. No way I'd let you mow the lawn, but it's actually my favorite thing in the world. And then Ellismere, on the other hand, said, Mythic Plus was supposed to be a different form of content from raiding. For healers, it's especially been a great way to showcase skill sets other than raw HPS min-maxing. This is where things like weaving in impactful damage, interrupting mobs, using CC utility, coordinating raids and raid CDs and defensives, watching targeted casts. That's where that comes into play. And he was kind of upset about, you know, in his words, the lowering of skill expression from the healer role.
Yeah.
Well, so what I'll say about those two guys and about many other people that are regarded as top theory crafters of their class is they only give a shit about their class being very good. They can type really well. Ellismere is very well spoken. JB is very clever. But at the end of the day, JB just wants Resto Druid to be the best healer, and Ellismere just wants Paladin to be the best healer. And Resto Druid's kick is annoying, and also it looked like they removed it before the other kicks. It looked like they were just taking away Skull Bash already. So potentially this was an advantage that Paladin had over Druid when they had their kick, and now they're removing Paladin's kick, so now HPAL's mad, and then Druid's happy, right? I mean, that's just unfortunate. You know, you guys can say, oh, you know, skill, blah, 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 but okay, they just recently gave healers kicks again. Ellismere was completely dominant as a healer at the end of BFA and all through Shadowlands, and everyone constantly was like, this guy is so good. Everyone talks about all the skill expression that Ellismere has and that he plays HPAL even when it's not that good, and it's because he's such a good player. But there were plenty of times when he did that when there was no kicks. Like, to say that, oh, kicks is going away, therefore there's going to be no skill expression, and now as a healer... Like, I just read these comments about, oh, now as a healer, you're just going to walk around and press one button on your party frames, and every healer is going to be the same. Like, I mean, I got... If that's what you think healing is, then just go get title then as a healer. Go see how easy it is then to just walk around without your kick and just be a passenger and click. I mean, okay, healer is not that hard, but it's not that easy either.
So my thought on this is like, I get, you know, wanting to be able to show skill expression, but skill expression is still very, very, very much going to exist in WoW, right? There are still so many avenues that you can do that, but it's I think it's kind of, did I hallucinate this, or did Blizzard say they're almost like going back to basics in terms of encounter design, like focusing more on the dodging and the like less on the rotation? Did I hallucinate that, or was that in a random interview?
I don't remember reading that anywhere.
Kind of. They've kind of implied it, but I wouldn't say they've like used that phrase of like back to basics.
You said that they have stated that in an interview. I didn't personally read that in an interview somewhere.
I want to say it was like PC Gamer or something, but like the vibe that I got, because I clearly don't have a source here, is that they are moving encounters more towards their like what they used to be, which is, I think it was whatever interview they mentioned strength, dexterity, and intellect. Intellect for problem solving, strength for gear, and dex for like your dodging of mechanics. And there are still going to be those three things in all levels of content. But I think, especially whenever a change lowers the skill ceiling in any game, the top end is going to complain. See any shooter, whenever SBMM is mentioned, every single time any top shooter player complains about SBMM, you know that they're at the top of their bracket and just want to farm less skilled players. I almost think this is a little bit similar.
I want to say as well, like, the underlying thing with them removing kicks is like, okay, if they just remove healer kicks and they give you priority to Sacred Flame next season, this is the most boneheaded change ever. But what's not stated here with Blizzard removing kicks is that, all right, it's like a trade-off, or there's like a trade-off here where would you accept healers not having kicks if they're 50% less caster mobs in a dungeon? Yes, caster mobs fucking suck. Kicking is also just not fun. I think that this is maybe something that's not said a lot, but kicking is something that is really dominant in Mythic Plus. Not a very fun mechanic, just in general. Having to have the prerequisite knowledge of knowing what mobs you need to interrupt, what ability needs to interrupt, and who's supposed to be kicking what in what order. At the same time, Blizzard's looking to remove kick tracking. Kicking is not that fun in Mythic Plus. Like, I don't find it to be that engaging. And if I was a healer, I'd find it even less engaging because I have other stuff to focus on.
Well, again, we're talking about visibility being a skill and being a skill that now is going to be emphasized a lot, right?
Yes.
Looking at the battlefield, seeing your debuffs, blah, 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 right? If that's the case, like, again, your ability to focus on your kick is a lot less as a healer, right? Because you're looking at those frames. Like, I think this is something that a lot of people who are worried about add-ons going away are also worried about kicks going away. And it's like, well, if you're worried that your attention is going to be so, like, jumbled because you don't have all the tools, and you're worried about not having a kick, it's like, well, you know, we're removing some of your cognitive load here. Like, it's a trade, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, now some stuff is harder to see, but now you have to worry about less things. Like, to me, that's a win and a win, right? Like, okay, the most annoying, like, one of the least fun, least interesting things of kicking is now gone from my kit, and now I have to put more emphasis on, like, looking and seeing, you know, what's going on and looking at the mobs and stuff, which, in my opinion, like, mostly more fun and better. I mean, you can nitpick and look at different situations, but
I will say that something I did read a lot of was healers complaining that now they can't kick on behalf of their monkey DPS who weren't kicking before, and that actually that kind of sentiment bothered me a lot, because that kind of implies that you're much better than the people that you're playing with, and it almost implies that you're so much better than the people you're playing with that they have no idea what's going on in the dungeon, and only you actually know what's going on, and you have to be the person that solves this problem for all 4 other people that you're playing with.
Oh, it's so delusion. Like, this idea that everybody
lost,
has,
right?
that you walk into a key and you're so much better than everybody else, and that you're just doing everything. Like, I say stuff like that, like I talk about monkey DPS or whatever, but I'm joking in case people don't understand. I actually made a meme on Ellismir's tweet where I said, have you seen how bad healers are? Why do you want them kicking anything anyway? And, like, also that was a joke, right? Like, I'm not, we're all, you know, you're in your bracket, you're with people of the same relative skill for you. Like,
yes.
To act like you walk around in every group that you're in and you're just, like, pushing the majority of the weight and carrying all of your peons to victory in every key. Like, I can kind of see that if you're, like, some Omega Raider guy and then all you do is weekly 12s and you just, like, want to be able to carry your weekly 12. But I mean, again, who cares? Like, do it with some guildies then if having an ugly 12 run is that, like, bothersome to you, you know?
In other news, like, Blizzard released this.
I want to say one thing.
Okay.
On that, like, basically, somebody brought it up earlier. It's like, kicks didn't used to be like that, right? Like, Blizzard tried something new. They gave kicks to healers, and now they're just walking it back. Maybe they determined it just wasn't healthy for the game. When they added more kicks, they added, you know, to healers, they needed to add more kicks to Mythic Plus. And everybody hates kicks, so now they're removing, like, that's the simplest logic that I could find out. And I think that's probably healthy for the game, considering how much people have been complaining about stops.
I agree. Like, I think that's the most simple way of viewing it. And I'm like, wow, thank God that we have less kicks to have to deal with now, because kick rotations are not very fun. On top of that as well, people randomly getting bolted 100-0, not very fun. And Blizzard released this really based post saying that enemy ranged mobs getting changes in Mythic Plus, and then also large changes to Healing at Midnight, where I remember the bottom of this was the most interesting, where they talked about enemy behavior, where they said the removal of interrupt capabilities from healers were making an effort to change the behavior of enemies that shoot or use abilities like shoot or frostbolt. We want enemies with these spells to be more evenly spread with their targeting to other players of your group, which should reduce the casts where a single player might take a large spike of damage while others receive none. And again, we have more to come for Classes of Midnight. We'll continue to outline all of this in our development notes. What this is basically saying is Blizzard has anti-sync on abilities, where abilities right now won't cast at the same time, but now they're adding anti-sync to mobs where they won't cast on the same player at the same time, which I think is a huge a huge change, because now that's going to allow more power into your healer and allow them to be able to actually recover from things like shoot or frostbolt going off, because whenever you get double pot shot and get evaporated from 100 to 0, it doesn't feel very good, and the only result was like, oh, I needed to preemptively know that this was happening and press a defensive beforehand, which there is a lot of skill expression in that, but it feels really bad whenever you didn't notice it, and it's just like you're kind of feels you're kind of battling with your UI. And this enemy behavior change, this reads like this is just spot on what they needed to do with the mobs, in my opinion.
I question if this is gonna work. So, like, for example, the second boss in Arakara, the one that does the debuff, right?
Yes.
So if you are Mythic Plus nerd, who plays a lot of Mythic Plus, you'll realize that it actually cycles through your party. And there's like a mini little ICD, and it won't just put the debuff on the same person over and over again. It goes through your party, right? And I assume, and there are other mobs that do that, sort of, and I assume that what they're saying is they're going to use this on, like, bolters or whatever. But, okay, let's say there's 3 bolters in a pack. Like, what does that mean then? Like, can 3 bolt? I mean, I'm pretty sure 3 bolters could still just happen to target you, right?
No. So I think it's actually going to work very similar to where the Arakara, the crawlers work, where it prioritizes putting a poison on a player who doesn't have a poison on it, where, you know, a mob starts casting bolt, and then the other mobs know that that guy's casting bolt and will not cast bolt on that same target.
So, like, let's say if there's 4 bolts, every guy will just keep bolting the same person over and over again then?
I doubt they'll bolt the same person, just because
like
that would be kind of weird. But
yeah, that's... Yeah.
A unique person is only eating 1 bolt at a time, as opposed to where it currently stands, where some guy could get triple bolted and one guy gets 1 on him, and it's just like, wait a second.
Yeah, and then another thing is, like, okay, so for the, just use Arakara again, the bridge after the first boss. So that has the big Nerubian guy that does the AoE, and the little bug chargers, and the bolter, right? And so the problem isn't, like, okay, well, how is that going to work? Is it going to know, oh, you got charged by the beetle, and then now the bolter isn't going to shoot? Like, I feel like there's still going to be so many wombos or whatever. Like, I understand what they're saying here or doing here, but I anticipate this isn't going to be some big, like, oh, they fixed casters or wombo combos in M+. I foresee it being mostly the same until... I believe we're going to see the same thing, and I will believe it when I see it.
Here's what I'm thinking. Realistically, I think it's going to be exactly like old Bolstering or Sanguine, where they will have the tech, they'll apply it to like 2 things, and then it will go to dungeons, be like, this triple pack of casters isn't, you know, is smiting the same person 3 times, and they'll be like, okay, we can fix that. Then they'll fix the smiters. But then the 5 other spots where that's happening, they'll just slowly roll it out over the season. Like, I believe that's the most likely scenario, and I will be surprised if they nail it from the start. But I believe that this tech probably exists, and they're probably going to use it to the best of their ability, but they're probably not going to hit everything that they need to, and then they'll need to fix it once they get feedback on live servers.
Yeah, I think that this reads as to be just a great change. Maybe it doesn't end up affecting anything, but I think that this could, I think that can only be used positively, right?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's only ever a positive change, because in theory, and this is, okay, I think a bigger problem with Bolt and Archer mobs is just like how stupidly hard they scale a lot of the time, where even like 1 bolt going through just kills you. But like, especially for lower level keys too, where people just like let fucking interrupts go through all the time, this now allows your healer to be able to actively be able to heal through it. And I think that even if it doesn't end up affecting us because we have to kick every single bolt anyways, at lower levels, healers being able to heal through it, I think is going to be a positive.
And also, again, we don't even know how many bolters there are. They could change out dungeons so there's 1 caster in a pack, and the kicks have longer lockouts in Midnight. Remember, that was the thing at the very first, the very first build. well, they could, for all we know, just remove bolters and everybody be happy. But like, we don't know what they're doing. Like, they could change bolters so they cast once and then walk in for 3 seconds before they cast another bolt. Who knows?
I would be shocked to see similar amounts of bolters that we've had in Dragonflight and the War Within, given what the changes they're making. I would not be surprised though if there's like half as many mobs that cast in Mythic Plus now, given the change that they're making. I'm hoping for that to be the case too. Fingers crossed.
For me, I think, and this could go along with the healer change, but I think the most important thing they need to do is sort of like design mobs in a way that's straightforward for pugs. So for example, like you have mobs that are either one melee kick only, one range kick only, or like maybe a 2-person kick rotation, you know? And like that's it. Every single mob follows that outline. And it's like for instance, you have mobs like, again, to keep using Arakara, the bolters in Arakara that also have the volley. And it's like, okay, you're in a pug, what do you do to that mob? Like, well, do you only kick the volley and not kick the bolt? Do you expect other people to kick the volley? Like, is that a 2-kick rotation? What happens if you kick twice and then a volley goes off and you don't have your kick? Like, there's just weird...
DDC?
It does sound that way.
Like, you shouldn't...
You DC'd halfway through that last little sentence or whatever you said, if you're back.
Well,
I'm gonna take up the mantle for what he was saying. I think that kick rotations are stupid. I'll say it. I don't think that you should actually ever need to rotate kicks. I think that, you know, kicking a mob one time on an important cast is fine. Needing to chain 4, 5, 6 kicks in a row is dumb. Like, and I think that the further we can get away from that, the better that Mythic Plus will feel to play. Because, and also it'll make it more accessible to people who aren't always in voice.
Yeah, like realistically, I think the whole like nameplate tag game of like, where's the mob that's casting in my sea of 10 nameplates has never been the most fun. And like, I'll be honest, I don't think many people use focus kicks because it's just unintuitive, and it's also hard to get into, unlike a game like Fellowship, where that's like a very natural keybind. Like, you can just like, it's one of the first things you can keybind, I think, right? Like, they tell you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm praying that they bring that to WoW. Like, I'm praying.
Did you see that Ellesmere made that in WoW as an add-on?
I'm back. Poor Ellesmere. Poor Ellesmere. That's what I was thinking, you guys.
I'm glad that you disconnected just to come back and roast Ellesmere.
No, I actually, so he developed did he call it focus kick? What was it called? It was like a very, very well thought out weak aura package that basically like helped you deal with that, essentially. Yeah, it's called focus kick. And it essentially was like part of what I was saying before I DC'd is like, you have a system for each mob, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this mob is a range kick, this mob is a melee kick, this is a rotation or whatever. Basically, those are the 3 options, and then it knows what type of kick each mob is, and so like it'll display it like properly. Like, for example, let's say there's a kick, it's just like 1-person kick. It'll like have all the 1-person kicks in a corner, and then it'll show you who's kicking what. And then if there's a kick rotation, it'll have the kick rotation in the middle, and you can kind of see who's next or whatever. And it's like, it's really, really funny because I know that he's been working on that, and it's like, actually would have been a crazy useful thing that a lot of top teams would have used, and then literally it just gets gunned down by Blizzard before it can even release, and he just is like, all right, I guess I'll just release this and we'll use it. Which, I mean, honestly, even for this season, like if you're pushing this season, it's probably incredibly helpful to use. But just ironic that they gunned down his baby like as soon as it was out of the womb.
Dude, I mean, whenever you DC'd, I go, and to finish Growl's thought, kick rotations suck. They're not very fun anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I was saying.
Yeah.
Kick rotations suck. Like, I just like the idea of like being able to handle a mob, right? Like, you go into a pack, everybody knows what to do. Like, hey, this is Tettles' mob, this is Squishy's mob, this is, you know, let's say I got a long kick, like I'm a Boomy or whatever, like, okay, me and the Tank's mob, like I always go on whatever the Tank likes, you know, and it's like, it needs to be able to do things in pugs where you don't die and you are not in voice. Like, I'm all for making it easier. Like, if you want to pull 7 casters and be in voice and chain everything, you'll always be able to do that with, 4 AoE stops and beam and silent sigil and then into stop, whatever. Like, you'll always be able to do that, but you should be able to, like, pull any pack, no voice, and know what to do and kick all the mobs.
I think it's weird though in WoW because I'm pretty sure mobs need to live long enough for that to matter. Like, realistically, this season, we've talked about this before, mobs just kind of die. Like, packs don't last very long until you get to the high keys, because things were just a lot easier. If you make a range kick, like from a design perspective, let's say you'd make a range kick, 25-second cooldown, most, range can kick that, say 30 seconds so that you hit more kicks, 30 seconds.
Okay.
That mob, in order to do more than one kick, needs to last at least a minute and a couple seconds, like a minute and 5 seconds, a minute and 10 seconds.
4, 3.
That's longer than a lot of packs lasted.
Watch your step.
Especially even at the start of the season, I feel like, on a 10 or a 12. Things just kind of blew up this season.
Sure, but ultimately that's still okay, I think. Like, as long as the kick is like fits the bill, like if it's a single range kick, right, that should be like a pretty fucking lethal kick, where if that goes off, that's really bad, like if it only casts once every 20 something seconds, then it should be like a wipe. And so I think like just the fact that you went into that pack, everyone focused the right mob, everyone got their first kick, like I don't think the action of kicking that or doing something to that mob over and over and over again is like that interesting, like if you went into the pack, everyone focused the right thing, everyone did the right kick or the right stop, and then the pack died in 30 seconds, then you move on. I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like, it's not an interesting mob if it's a 40-second pull, which is like very average, and then it literally casts one ability in that 40 seconds, and otherwise it's a target dummy.
They've also done weird stuff in the past, or not weird, but like different stuff in the past with kicks, and I'd really like to see them go back to it of like, only a certain person can kick this. The person it's being targeted on. The person that, the tank can only, cast this on a miscaller. Like,
holy shit, that would be insane.
Right? Like, I think there's some interesting thing there. Like, obviously not crazy. Like, it wouldn't work for a bolter. But, like, there's... I actually think the raid boss that we tested does it. Where you're like the raid boss that we tested assigns you either like a light color or a dark color, and you can only kick it if you're the correct color.
Okay.
So like, there's a level of kicks that they haven't done yet that I wonder if they just have never done because of weak auras. And now that they're kind of freed up, they can kind of investigate that more, because like there's been 2 interesting interrupt mechanics that I saw in the Dungeon Journal from what I remember.
Yeah, I would like,
Couriers
I don't know if I want them to like do more stuff with kicks, but they definitely could be more creative with that, right? Like an example of like you said of, okay, well, you can only kick red mobs, and then you don't know which mob is red until the pack gets in combat, but then you see, okay, so now it's not as simple as just, I focus the ritualist and every single pull I'm the mage. It's like, okay, I focus the red guy or whatever. Or you have something that's like, another thing is like a cast that's like a channel, it's like a heal, and so it like starts right away healing, and like the faster that 0.5 seconds of your reaction time kicking it like actually does make a little bit of a difference and like does damage or whatever. Like they could do more, just like more things other than just like press your kick in this 2-second window on this mob or you wipe. Like, that's 97% of the kicks right now in the game.
I mean, triple technique from Tazavesh was, I think, actually a really good kick fight.
Yep. Both that and even the normal mode too, right? The duo one of like, you technically want to not kick it until the end, right? Because you want the guy to sit there and not do mechanics, but like,
yeah,
having a guy casting a lethal spell in your face and knowing you need to kick it twice is like uneasy for people, so like a lot of times you just see that get kicked in pugs when they waste time and the mob jumps around, and it's like, yeah, just little things to like be a little bit more creative with kicks, I think would be cool.
Okay, in other news, we got Blizzard adding a Hall of Fame to Delves. Basically the let me solo her, question mark difficulty mobs are now actually getting an achievement where if you were one of the first 1,000 players in your region to defeat, what's this guy's name? Nautilus?
Nautilus? Abomination was created
Naleus?
to protect lower reaches of
Kybeza
the Citadel
too.
from
Kybeza's brother, in his lair on question mark without any other players in your party before the next season release season of Delves, and they're going to give you an achievement for it for being one of the first 1,000 players. I think this is actually very interesting that Blizzard's looking to do this. I think it's super cool that they're adding some chase reward like this on top of, you know, the challenge that already is the question mark difficulty bosses.
I love that they're doing this. I mean, the Kybeza streams during the Dead Week were content, right, Tettles?
It was something. Yes, it was content.
I think they saw that and were like, yeah, we can make this happen. Like, let's actually give people something to do, a reason, because let's face it, Kybeza during that first week was a blast for a lot of people. They really, really enjoyed that encounter. So why not incentivize more people to do it, right? And now, even if you're not the first 1,000 people to kill it, when you do kill it, you actually get a mount. Not a recolor of like a different mount, you get a mount. So like, everybody's gonna have a reason to do this now if you like mounts, and I think that's really, really cool.
I think also it's they need to make sure that this is timed correctly. The problem with the Underpen and Zekvir was that it came out at the same time that all the other content was happening, and the people who genuinely want to kill this as like the first 1,000 players then have to decide, am I going to be doing raid or am I going to be killing Zekvir? And you kind of have to make your decisions, where at least with Kybeza, there was time to actually do stuff like that, you know, more or less for fun. You know, maybe this is just like the elitist talking here, where I'm just like, yeah, well, if you're making me pick between this and raid, I'm always going to pick raid. But maybe that's not true for everybody. At the same time, I feel like Kybeza worked out perfectly because of that time that was available for everybody.
So we might not know the answer to this, but is it going to work the same as Hall of Fame? Like, okay, let's say 1,000 people kill it, and then you kill it that same week. Are you getting the achievement, or is it literally only the first 1,000?
It sounds like it's literally the first 1,000, which would be really funny because more people would actually get Hall of Fame for the raid than get Hall of Fame for this. Yeah.
I think that my first instinct with that was that would be cool. My next instinct with that would be everyone's gonna go on PTR and it's gonna be way less fun because
it's not tested. They're never tested.
That's based.
This is a momentous day, my friends.
Are you sure?
Yes, we've never tested any of them. You can data mine their abilities. We've never posted them. I've never even looked. There's in there.
Cool, then.
Yeah, everybody went into Kybeza blind. I watched every Demon Hunter, not knowing the boss, hunt in and get destroyed by the very first Nexus daggers in the fight. Every Demon Hunter did that. Fantastic content. But like, yeah, we didn't know anything.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, now I'm back to thinking it might be kind of cool then. Also, it's very funny what Tettles brought up, because I'm sure there's a lot of mole people that are like, hey, fuck you, Tettles, go farm your M+ for your raid or whatever. I'll do the delve. Like, this is my achievement, this ain't yours.
I think for what it's, I think stuff like that's cool. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, for what it's worth, Hall of Fame does say among the first 200 guilds worldwide, and we know that's not true. So it's entirely possible that this saying, you know, among the first 1,000 people means it extends to the end of the week. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just changed the achievement to be clear question mark delve solo in the first week.
Right.
Because that makes more sense than arbitrarily limiting it to 1,000 people. That's not 1,000 people.
Also, did you say there's a mount on this?
Yes.
Yes.
There's no way. There's no way it's not at least.
Not for the first 1,000 people, right? It's for the actually.
It's doing it solo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, just doing it solo.
Yeah, just doing it solo.
I thought the first 1,000. I'm like, holy moly, people are gonna get mad at that. Like, imagine you work and you can't play till the weekend or whatever. Like, you just can't even get that mount.
The first 1,000 people aren't gonna kill it before the weekend.
You're
What?
tracking mud everywhere.
I don't know if I don't think 1,000 people were killing it like the first couple of days.
Really?
Forest grounds are just
Really?
ahead.
I
You'll
would
find that
expect it
it's
to.
even
I
more
like. I
heavily
expect it to be
defended than the lower
owned like
levels.
within hours.
I mean, if
It
it's Kai'Veza
depends.
difficulty,
It really depends on tuning because Kai'Veza for the first 3 days before people geared up from M0s and stuff was basically almost like exclusively a tank only challenge because of how hard she
You
hit.
didn't get that much gear from M0s and stuff.
Okay, well it was easier to kill on tanks, so the majority of people killed it with tanks.
Yeah.
Off the bat.
I mean, I got like what 7 item levels I think from my M0 clear. Like I don't think you got that much gear. I mean, if you weren't full Bis Mythic like I was, then yeah, you do get a lot of gear. But I didn't get that much gear.
It really depends what they do, right? Like Kai'Veza was like almost purely an execution check.
Frontal.
Zekfir was a DPS check, and we don't talk about underpin and its.
Oh, that's
mechanics.
yeah. I guess that's
Phase
true.
change.
Like, dude, Zekvir, I remember trying to do that guy at the start. I mean, he was just literally impossible when he came out, wasn't he?
Yeah, like for all we know, they moved the Delve boss to be like mythic gear levels of difficulty.
Yeah,
and-
that
and-
is true, I guess. We never know,
Like-
because like, dude, for anyone who didn't do Zekvir at the very beginning, dude, that guy was like, he was literally impossible. That was one where, I mean, so both
At
me and
long
Dorky
last,
tried it
the
individually, and
battle
like
to
we didn't even
liberate
get
Suramar
close.
is joined.
Like
It
it's not
was-
like
No
we,
more
it's not like we were
power
like we
resistance.
couldn't even
Hide
get
in the
10%
shadows.
of the boss's health off or whatever.
The
And then we
gates are breaching.
partied up, and then we
Sorry
were
we couldn't
trying to
join you
duo
sooner.
it, like not
But
even
we had
solo,
a bit of
2
a mess
people,
to
and we
clean
couldn't
up
even
out
do it with
front.
2 people, and we gave up.
Y'all
Like
see the
that guy was
fortifying
hard when he
position
came out.
here.
So yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it comes out
Your
as just
guidance has
impossible.
been
But
invaluable to our champion.
I don't know, with an achievement, I guess I'm very interested to see how this plays out. If there's an achievement and it's only the first X number of people get it, and it could be like dramatically overtuned, and it's not on PTR, that's crazy.
The end.
If you want my personal opinion, what I'm
I'll keep
hoping
an eye
for
on
from
your
this
progress.
is a boss that doesn't
luck.
auto attack. Because even people on Reddit have been like, "I love delves. What is the thing that you
In the Third
change?"
War,
One of the
Tide
like the top
Thunders
comments on
fell in
that Reddit thread was like,
Illidan Storm.
"Less white swings, more
I
mechanics."
think the
Oh, yeah.
demon hunter's spirit
And
is
like, so I
pleased
kind of hope
that
this
the
guy is just like,
Dreadlord has
you
met
know, a guy
another
who either
painful
follows you around or
end.
is just like rooted on the edge of a platform like Dimensius and just casts stuff at you the entire time. And I think that'd be kind of cool. And
I
just
agree.
kind of like tries to knock you off the platform or like swirlies, do the mechanics. Like if they're doing int challenges in raid, I wouldn't be surprised to make you do puzzle mechanics in the Delve boss as well. We saw that with Kai'Veza with like complete the triangle when Delve didn't bug Delve. When Brand didn't bug out, that kind of thing. But so I'd be curious to see what they do because during the cup game, that was pretty fast. I think for a lot of people, people didn't expect that. I feel like from an encounter, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see stuff like that as well going forwards. A memory game. I mean, Grau, you play PoE, right?
I do not really know.
Oh, okay, never mind. All right. Well, other games have memory games. I wouldn't be surprised to see a memory game, a Simon Says, or anything like that. We have to remember like safe quadrants for a bit, up to like 8 or 9 in a row, and you like it's a one shot if you fuck up.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be fun.
Oh yeah,
Q&A time.
let's do it.
Before Q&A, I want to do
Suramar
like a little quick
execution
announcement.
mind
I
links.
don't think
I
people
alone
tune
have mastered
out
the
for Q&A,
delicate
but I just want to do it
intertwining
now
of magic into
anyway.
nature's grand
So
cycle.
we're doing a end of expansion trivia show. We've kind of like done that, and I think we kind of used that idea from Titan Forge back when Titles did that.
Phase
Normally
2.
Squishy is the trivia guy, and he always does it. But I want Squishy to be able to play this time, so I'm organizing it. I have a list of questions and like things that I'm working on that'll be a part of the show, and I need people to fill them out so I can see like how hard stuff is and where to put what questions and all that as like part of the scoring system or whatever. So I'll have Titles leave a link to my stream Discord in the YouTube comments, and in my Discord there's a channel called War Within Trivia with everything explained. And basically, everything is explained there. If you don't want to be spoiled by anything in the episode, feel free to not fill it out. You can just wait and check out the episode there. But I would like people's help getting sample size and data and stuff on that.
Okay, cool. All right. Who's got this question from Dwight? We take.
That was me. I added that.
All right, let's start with this one. You can go ahead and read this one off, Squishy, because this one's long. A lot of.
Yeah. So basically, he asks, I've heard that when playing at the highest level in WoW, people do a deep dive into progression logs for potential recruits. Basically, what are these officers looking for? Is it DPS? You know, what are you looking for when checking logs?
I'll do this since I just did this for my guild. I'm doing this. Every guild fucking sucks at doing this, and people say they do deep dives in logs, and until you're getting into like the very, very top echelon of guild, people will literally look at your parses and like ask and talk to you, and then that's basically it. So, unfortunately, the truth is, if you sound like you know what you're talking about and you have good parses, then you can get into like pretty much any guild up to like top 50. I don't know. What do you guys think? When do guilds get good at looking at logs?
I think that's like a officer by officer basis as to whether or not you're good at looking at logs. I think that any potential recruit with good logs, like, you know, performance-based metrics, and you don't know anything negative about that person in particular, like if they have like good numbers, you'll trial them just because you can afford to trial them in your guild. There's no downside of trialing people just in general. Some things that I have done in the past whenever I was looking at logs, I don't think that most guilds, like you or Growl's probably right, where you're talking about top 50, top 100. Something that I looked at in the past would be very specific death metrics on pivotal progression bosses, trying to figure out how much damage they're taking from specific abilities, how are they layering their defensives, are they dying more or less than their average here, what is that kind of situation looking like? Those are kind of the big things that I'm looking at whenever I'm looking at logs, or I'll take like one individual boss, or I'll even ask a player, what is a boss that you think that you performed poorly on, and like what did you think about that, and then I'll get them to explain to me like why they thought that they performed poorly. Then I'll look at logs and see if what they're saying actually backs up what they said.
Yeah, for me, I'm very similar. Like, if I look for very specific things, I don't do a complete deep dive in logs, because realistically, most people are assumed to at least know the majority of their class. The first thing, obviously, is deaths, like Tettle said. I think this tier would be like Nexus King Beams. How often you died to that? You know, Dementius getting knocked off the platform, that kind of thing. One of the things that I personally value is how quickly you learn, which means looking at some of your very first progression pulls. Did you look up your defensives ahead of time? Are you pressing your defensives at all, you know, on the first few pulls? Because that will give an indication of whether or not you looked it up beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, are you out of position early on? What are your deaths? Are you using health pots? So I think like those are kind of the big things there. And as somebody that cares about improvement, as somebody that cares about improvement, I will like continue the the discussion like Kettle said of like, what boss do you feel like you performed the worst?
What's your step?
And why? And how did you how do you plan on improving that in the future? Because realistically, mistakes are going to happen. The important thing is kind of moving forwards.
And your doom draws near.
So one thing that they kind of glossed over, but what is very, very important, is looking at progression logs, not like farm log. Farm and like being able to get whatever parse is one small part of being a good player, and seeing how someone performs in a progression environment in a boss that they've never been before is important. So there's a lot of really helpful features that Warcraft Logs has. The first one, it might be like a Patreon only thing, or I don't know how. For some reason, sometimes I have access to it, sometimes I don't. It's called WoW Analyze, or multiple report analysis, and you can basically grab a huge batch of logs filtered by date and then look at them all in once and run filters on them. So one thing that people, basically everybody who's okay at logs filters for, is like, how many times did you die as one of the first couple people that died? Like if you are the seventh person that died, usually you don't care about that, but if you were the second person that died or the first person that died, that's something like you can filter for that. Another thing you can filter is times that you were battle res. So that's another good way to look at.
The husk of Illidan will prove an ideal vessel for my master's glory. Sargeras will rise, and together we will watch your world burn. Let the end game begin.
I can't attack that tank.
You will not stop.
Watch your step.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Flame jet.
From within.
Watch your step.
Make ashes of you.
4,
Rid me of
3,
these
2,
pests.
1.
Flame jet. I'm out of range.
4, 3,
My
2,
master's name.
1.
The vessel must be made ready.
Phase 2.
Failed heroes. The ritual is upon us. But first, I'll indulge myself a bit and finish you. A taste. I will not
4.
know
Phase
your
3.
distractions. I have work to do.
How often you're dying in spots where you just shouldn't be dying, and like you're going to like, you know, be costing your team battle reses. Ultimately, though, to get a really good look at logs, you have to be very specific, and a lot of times you kind of just like poke windows into certain things. So for example, like Squishy mentioned, Nexus King was one of the harder bosses this raid. So one might go and look at only your progression logs for Nexus King and see exactly how you did on that boss, right? And see, you know, were you pressing your defenses for the slams? Were you, you know, what were you dying? What were you dying to? Were you getting battle res? Were you using your cooldowns at the right time? Like, and then not like only looking at that, right, and completely ignoring 7 of the other 8 bosses. And that's why being honest and talking about that with the person that you're interviewing is important too, because let's say, you know, you had a really shitty Nexus King, but you tell them that you owned this raid and you did everything right and you did good on proc, and then they look at your logs and you're feeding your ass off the whole time, and it's like, you can tell them, you know, hey, like just going into an interview and saying, hey, I did really poorly on Nexus King. I really struggled with seeing the ghosts and I got MC'd. And then they look at your logs and they see you were highest MC. They're like, yep, that checks out. Okay, well, we understand, you know, like I think just being aware of your mistakes and understanding them can help you get through the interview. And then, yeah, from a raid leader perspective, I think that either specializing in certain bosses or certain classes or sending it to somebody who is helpful, and then learning to use those filters, like just little things too, like, you know, for example, let's say there's 2 warlocks in your guild. Who's the guy that's putting down the gateway? Like, is it the other guy that's putting down the gateway 9 out of 10 times? Like, if you're the DK, are you the one battle resing every time, or are you the guy that never fucking battle reses? Like, we had a warlock in our progression this time that actually had less battle reses during Dimensius than our brewmaster. And it's like, well, yeah, think about that for a second.
Warlocks are notorious for refusing to battle res, so I mean that does check out, but it's also kind of fucking crazy stat.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. That's something that, so unfortunately there was a healer for previously Limit and then Echo, and then he's retired now, but his name is Jeeth. He used to do insanely good healer log reviews, and when I first started playing, I would watch his stuff all the time, and that's basically where I learned everything. Do you guys have any streamer recommendations that do that nowadays? I can't think of any. Yeah,
I don't
basically
off the top of my head.
Yeah, like Jeeth was like so good at. I'm trying to think of some other things that were good, like important abilities. You know, like Holy Shock for Paladin, for example, like just filtering out and just looking at your Holy Shock and making sure it looks like, you know, he called it a sturdy picket fence, where it's like consistently you're using it on CD for the whole time, and like making sure you're using your buttons. Like if you're a Disc Priest or like an Arcane Mage, something that has a very complex opener, like looking and making sure that they're doing all their buttons and sequencing them perfectly according to the sim, and they're not leaving gaps in their you know, buttons or whatever. Like those sorts of rotational things are good to look for too, if you have a good understanding of that class.
I'll have a tendency to ask other raiders just like what their thoughts on this person's logs are, damage-wise, if I feel like I have any like actual questions beyond things that I can't cursory, like I have like a cursory understanding of all the specs in some capacity. Range being way better than most other, but like even still being able to do like log deep dive on any individual spec is like a huge undertaking, I think.
This is a
beyond the scope of like looking at your play, because looking at your play is really easy via logs. Looking at your like rotational shit, like I feel like that's more in the minutia of things that I don't care about most of the time. Because if you have good enough, you know, parses, that's normally like enough for me to like start looking at your logs to begin with.
Yes, exactly. You don't need, like, that's what parses show you, is how good they're doing their rotations. Or generally you don't need to focus on those things, and that's why you kind of need to focus on like how much do they live. Like,
healers,
you know.
healers are very different in that regard. So, and tanks to also to a degree are very different in that regard. We're looking at their fucking parses is just like completely futile.
Yeah, I mean, one thing too is like, you know, let's say you raided this tier, right, and you're a raid leader or an officer. Well, what you think about, well, what did your team fuck up the most, right? Like, where did you have problems that you were frustrated with your raiders? And then it was like, okay, well, the tank was doing this, or this person was doing this. Well, then, okay, open up the logs of the people who are applying and see if they were doing that, you know? And it's like, just try to pull on as much of your experience as you can and what you know, and then kind of look for those things in those players and see if, like, okay, are they making the same mistakes that we learned, or are we leapfrogging this shit by getting this guy?
Any final comments, Squishy?
No, I'm good with that.
All right, I think that's where we're gonna end episode 70 of the Bench, powered by Wowhead.
Now, yeah, I didn't know that extra layer. Well, the more you know. The more you know. We need GIFs in chat. We need to make Steam let us use actual full-on GIFs. Like Discord chat level of GIFs. I swear, I could speak my entire life in GIFs.
Filthy.
Also, thank you all for popping in.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm
defensive.
Silver, and I like to call it wired. Tired of wired. I'm wide awake. I'm definitely
The
a little
palace
tired.
grounds are just ahead. You'll
But I
find
feel
them
pretty
even
good.
more heavily defended than the lower levels.
I'm just low energy. Low energy and high energy. I don't know, medium, I guess. Love Nexus mods, but unfortunately many of the creators went underground, especially for the spicy mods. That's kind of funny. Spicy mods. This is a good way to put it, too. It's like all the spicy mods I got for BT3. I need to finish that game at some point. One day.
Frontal.
Gonna crash in a few hours, but until then, full speed ahead? Absolutely.
Frontal.
Pretty much. Pretty much. We got all the Legion slaying to do. We're actually making pretty good progress. That
Frontal.
extra little boost of power I got from
Phase
a
change.
handful of raids,
And that's
and a
the best
singular
you can
mythic
do?
plus
4,
helps.
3, 2,
Actually quite
1.
significantly.
Behold
Defensive.
the true mistress of the blade!
Fly!
Watch your footing! I'd hate to see you slip up! I must...
On another note, something that kind of agitates me, and know we briefly touched on it yesterday, but I ended up chatting too much to Silver during stream. Did you all notice, if you have all the things, that
Frontal.
they figured out
Incompetent
what the...
mortals.
I know we talked
You
about this,
think
but I'm gonna bring
getting
it up.
past a few
What
pounds
the,
means you can
quote-unquote
stand
weapons
against the
are
true son of the
for
Legion.
this one. Luckily not new stuff, so Silver really wants to farm it. I really don't. So we're at an impasse, unfortunately, and there's a good few hundred of them, and ATT hasn't even finished pouring them all in yet. And I'm like, Silver, I don't know that I have the soul in me anymore to do all 4 armor types on all difficulties for all raids every day for low drop rate pieces. I don't think I could. I don't know that I have the soul. I feel like I died a little just talking about it. So I'm like, you know?
If only you knew what lay beyond.
Oh good, was clutching the pearls for a second, but still sounds great. It was not.
9, 8.
Such
It was not.
insolence.
It doesn't seem to be tied to the open world.
See for yourself
Raid
the
zone.
cool frozen
But the
void
caveat is
that
because
lies
it's
beyond the
armor,
margin, the burning
unless you're
legion.
740 in every slot,
Slayer.
it's not raidable.
The future.
Because I already did some raids,
Hope to resist.
and I couldn't trade any of the
Can
gear
you?
that I already might have had that was duplicates, because it's item level. So that's fun. Yay. Messed up that they don't have ID's appearances as part of the ensembles. Agreed. Agreed. I was really annoyed. I was like, really? But it's armor though. If they obtain the
Surma
outside of
owes its
remix
beauty
past
to
me,
my blooms.
they are
I alone
technically-
have mastered the
difference
delicate
is they're
intertwining of
removed
magic
the
into
class
nature's
tag.
grand
So they're
cycle.
technically unique, quote unquote, because any
How
armor
dare
type
you disturb
of
my
that
pristine
class-
gardens!
So any class of the armor type.
Watch your step.
Any, like, full paladin set. Can't get that outside, but it is the same thing. My argument for not bothering it with silver was I feel like the class restriction for armor types is a break of the glass sort of
So the
topic
palace
for Blizzard.
gardener turned
So
himself
if they
into
ever
a
felt
plant?
like they really needed to
What
get
can I
some,
say?
some
He
positive
took his job
thumb ups, they
seriously.
could be like, well, you know, in 10 years, we removed the class restrictions on all armor types. It's still armor locked, but any class is able to wear it. And if they did, that means I would instantly have all of the pieces in that list. Because I already have all those sets. They're just class locked.
Frontal.
You see what I mean? So I don't know. That's my complaint. Or my argument against it, rather. Which, I appreciate that they did that. Like, that's kind of a cool idea. Why is it put on the vendor?
I need a target.
That's so much. From 672, slowly but surely getting up there. Nice. Sorry, I'm confused. Need help for my smooth brain. Are these like random raid drops? Yes. They're called common boss drops, which mean any of those pieces of armor can drop on any of the bosses in the designated raid on that specific difficulty. For example, we got, let's see, 9 cloaks can drop on any of the bosses, specifically
Shockwave.
heroic, because there's normal versions too.
4, 3,
Mythic
2, 1.
Although the difference, there is like a lot of weird different versions, but there's 9 different cloaks can drop on any boss. Low drop rate, random. You can get duplicates, etc. For example, I only got 2 pieces of gear in the entire Nighthold Mythic run that I did. Both of them were boots. Same boots. So, yeah. It's either boots or Was it boots? It was the boots. Yes. It was indeed the boots. Those cloaks on the vendor? There are a lot of cloaks on the vendor, and I bought them all already. But those ones aren't. Isn't that fun? These are additional cloaks. Because I have everything on the vendors up to what's buyable, with the exception of the stuff that's still locked. I have so much cloaks. I have 870,000 extra bronze. Ridiculous.
I foresaw your coming.
Thank you so much for explaining. Are these only
threads of
remix
fate
for this
that led
music
you
from
to this
now? Nope, these are
place.
remix only technically.
To stop the
Because
legions.
once remix is over, you will not
My
be able
people
to get
faced a similar dilemma. I peered into all possible futures.
You'll be
in
stuck with
search
the
of an
class
answer,
locked version.
and found.
And for the
only
record, I do have,
the
with
Legion's
the exception of the Red
victory is
Sargeras
inevitable.
site,
Every
which is
time swim shows it to be so.
have every
Had we resisted, they would have
raid
taken the
drop
Nightwell by force and
in terms
left
of
us
armor,
bereft
all the
of it.
Legion raids, all classes. That is something I completed a while back, and I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, it's up to you whether or not you want to go get them. I wouldn't feel FOMO-y, because it's class locked stuff versus not class locked stuff of sets we already have. But brainstorming a young orc blade master trying to regain the burning blade
Your
of the clan's
death
honor.
ensure
An
the
old
future
orc
of
shaman
the
tries to give him
Nightborn.
some advice.
Come
Small thing here
forward,
gets mad
then.
at him like,
Let
who are you
us
to talk?
speed you
You were a
towards your
warlock during the
fate.
first war. Shots fired. Nice.
Your timelines
Depends on
end
how much
here.
you change your transition, I guess. Depending on putting all my things
Big ad. Big ad.
fair. I know I think
Phase
the
2.
next expansion, because of
exist in but a
various
single
reasons,
moment.
I'll be
I am
housing and
far less
transmog heavy.
limited.
We'll be doing a lot of mogging and a lot of housing
Watch your step.
for various reasons.
Taunt boss.
Yeah, I know. It is a hard debate
Big
for
ad.
me because Silver really wants to go get them, but I'm like, but honey bun.
Phase 3.
Time shifts like, but it's not the class
your
locked
doom
version.
draws
I'm like,
near.
yes, I know, but Blizzard though. And she's like, but I want it. I'm like, I know.
Watch your step.
Just turn into a
Big ad. Big ad.
slipping away. Neither angry. It's just, it's so much nicer to have the class locked for me. Transmog is my favorite part of the game. WoW equals secret. WoW equals secret dress up game for me. Same, honestly. I normally completely agree with you. It's just the fact that, and they're not even done. There's ignoring Trial of Valor because that's just the other thingamajigs. So I guess it's just Nighthold, Tumen, and Taurus. They didn't do it for Emerald Nightmare and Trial of Valor, I guess. But there's a few hundred. That's more than the couple hundred weapons that we had to do. And I'm like, and they're not tradable because of armor. You'd have to be 740, and I'm like, yeah. I don't know if I can deal with that. I get angry just thinking about it.
4, 3, 2,
So it's a very
1.
solo thing, I think. Except
Target you.
all the undead stuff can be held.
Phase 2.
I saw that, the Warfront currency. Luckily you can get that currency outside of Warfronts too, but it is in a bit.
Surrender.
Maybe you know what? Maybe I'll make a guide for that. I'm trying to get myself back into guides again.
Time to return the
At least a little bit.
And Gul'dan.
It's definitely been difficult because
Darkness incarnate.
Let me add that to my list here. Can we just pull everybody? I'm just pulling everybody here. Calm down.
You topple
These
a pawn
freaking hydras.
and presume to challenge its
No,
master.
I don't
Such
think that would be a
arrogance.
very simple one. And one I think people might not realize.
Behold the shadow of what
Are they
is
pretty?
to come.
Or are they ugly? I suppose that matters. I don't know. I've only seen the icons. I don't know what they actually look like.
Knocking back.
Not prepare. Feel the power
Can't carry anymore.
Oh. Got on the spotlight. I guess I won't be doing that series anymore. New ideas. Just add it there. How to farm warfront currency with no warfronts. There. I made the note so I can make a guide on that when it comes out. When housing is out and we know like official prices and stuff, I can put that in. They just posted that they're lowering the cost of the warfront decor. I saw, and I'm very glad. Either way, it's going to be annoying because that currency is disgusting to farm. Luckily, it's also transferable now, though, so you can't alt spam. They do BFA remix, put all the Warfront stuff on the vendors because getting the Warfront set sucks. Agreed. As someone who did actually take the time, both when it was current and then again in Dragonflight when it was more doable without a whole group, who farmed all of the sets and the weapons and the achievements, I hated it. I like Warfronts, but I feel like they could have been done just a tiny bit better. Very unfortunate. Like Warfront's solo queuable. Agreed, Ink Dragon. Agreed. Okay. Alright. Here's one. And it's a goat, ironically. My tier 3 Alliance soldiers, dang it. I feel you. Those are good ones. Especially the plate ones. Heck yes. Can confirm, those look so good. Eh. Pull both of these. There. Okay. Let's see here. Guess we'll move on to the Harpies now. Cause running out of dudes. Here's one. Stay away from the goats. Also, as today, my current roster of characters follow my remix tunes 52. Nice. It's a nice solid army there. Congrats. That's handy. Handy dandy. Let's see, I need to make. Let me adjust something here. Where'd the chat go? There. So let's unhook and move it down a little. Do it there. That's pretty decent. Hook and there we are. Done. Okay. There we go. A little more space. That space down there at the bottom is for YouTube. But they're not nearly as chatty as the Twitch side, which is perfectly fine. I'm just adjusting it since I got the new chat modules here. As much as I loved the old chat section, and I'm annoyed that it doesn't work very well anymore, I hope y'all like the new version of it, because it's pretty out of the way. But for anyone that, wanted to read the chat that might be on YouTube to see all Twitch chat, and vice versa, it's there. Good morning, Chemthelian. How you doing? Glad to have you here. Welcome. Also, as a random reminder, today is the last full day for the drop pet. So even if you've put on the time, make sure you go hit the claim button. Because if you don't get it. Even if you earned it, technically. So, that ends technically tomorrow. They usually end on like Tuesdays, but for some reason this one's ending on a Wednesday. But them's the dates. Not too bad. Dad is chilling for a bit. How's you? Nice. That's good. I'm doing fine. Just farming some heroic tier mobs for the Legion Slayer achievement. Need 500 of them. It's a grind. Not hard, just tedious. I'm up to 367 out of 500, so I'll be here for a little while. Getting progress, though. Here's one. Oh, the pet is cute. Its some animation is cool as well. Had to unlink and relink my Battle.net to get Twitch to get though. Oh, that's irritating. Yeah, they've been having a lot of issues on Twitch's side lately. Although, they say it's Twitch's side, but with all the Battle.net things that they've been doing, I wonder if it's Battle.net issues too. Probably compounded of both. Oh, it is. I think I'm at 380 out of 500, so I feel ya. Yeah, and the part that annoys me is I wouldn't have minded it so much, except the count only goes to whoever gets the killing blow of it. Which is kind of weird, because it's not a PvP achievement. Like, I expected the rep one, the quest one, the world quest one to be more grindy. But for some reason it was this one. And it's not shareable, so Silver and I have to do it separate, or it'll literally take twice as long. It's like, wait, what? We noticed that. We're like, wait, that's weird. Why are we off and not getting the same count? That's why. We tested it. Have to get the killing blow, as if it were a PvP achievement. It's so weird. I think the second time I had to unlink and relink this year. Oh, that's not good. I'm sorry. Hello, Epoch. How you doing? Glad to have you here. Welcome. Oh, you know, I didn't upload the clip this morning. Gosh dang it. I'm gonna have to make an alarm for that. Seeing your little icon reminded me, Jackie. Well, that's okay. I can do that when I take Take a break. Levantis. Okay. I need Calamir. Keep missing that one. There's a lot more. There's quite a bit, actually. I just got done with all achieves associated to raids and dungeons, trying to finish Zone Stump for next week. Isn't that when they release the next patch? Yeah, the next one is Legion Fall, which means Broken Shore, the Legion Invasions, the new Class Hall quest line that's concluded with that. I'm assuming they include that, because there was one from
I'll
back
work
in the
to
day.
circumvent the tower's magical defenses. You may need to take a
the
more
world bosses
blunt
on the
force
Broken Shore, plus Tomb of Sargeras,
This goes
and
without saying.
Cathedral of Eternal
But be
Night,
on your guard.
and then the reps. Actually, quite a bit. It's a pretty hefty patch.
A present side enough.
Luckily, you and Silver can easily do it with the Hero World Tour. I think so, yeah. I'm hoping so. We struggled on a +2, so hopefully we could. Theoretically. Theoretically. Oh, we got a hype train. Hype train. Thank you so much for the hype train, Brielle. Appreciate you. Excellent. I'm just getting thingamajigs. Don't need that. Crack in our chat. Which zones do we need to complete and remix for the achievement to Fell and Back? Ooh, I don't know. I did all zones, so let's see. To Fell and Back. What's it say? Oh, that's just the campaign. That's not like the actual zones. So the quest, like the campaign quests that Eternus gives you
5,
at the start,
4, 3,
it's actually pretty short.
2,
Just follow
1.
that, do what she says. Those little ones that it's like, now kill. You get it lumped in as you level, so at the max level, you can pick them up really quickly. I got that very early on. So it's very short. Don't have to worry about the zones, it's just the campaign itself. Arcblade Master pulls out his flaming orc sword. Pretty big, pretty nice. Factory Warrior pulls out his flaming big fin buster sword. One from the next game is bigger. Nice. Everything in Suramar, but I guess I have to complete the campaign to get it. No, don't have to complete the Suramar campaign to get it because it's. I got it before we ever finished Suramar. I got it back on the 10th, so 18 days ago now. Yeah, not long after it came out, so it's not tied to any of It's a completely separate and new campaign. It's very short, so it won't take you very long to get through it.
It's too far.
It's totally true, and that is the only reason they don't want their Xbox customers, CSPCers, having better options that they could never have without our controller or choices. Because fortunately, we're a society.
This is who I am.
Yeah, which, like, on one hand, I get it. I get the sentiment. But on the other hand, that's how PC pretty much always is. PC always has, like, the more better options. Because, usually, a PC is the stronger machine. But, I guess, it is time for some comparative testing. The direction Xbox is trying to go.
Interrupt.
About everything but the final part is the one with mass power and nuclear.
Spread.
Yep, thank you. I couldn't remember. I did it 18 days ago, so it's like yeah, doing all campaign but after side quest tier 2. Perfect. It's for Fell and Back. The mass power bar is a percentage in your quest log. Perfect. The 80 with the tune that I'm including Suramar on, complete quest, max with the gear I level eventually go up. If you open the moats, yes. It's all related to the moats. The gear directly from the quests will not change. Basically get to 80, do Mr. stuff for the dragon. Yep, pretty much. Very welcome, Darabelia. Happy to help. These guys are not who I need. Wondering why they couldn't sell the Xbox something like a controller out of the Warcraft rules or something. They might still. I could see that. It'd be kind of interesting. Xbox controller. exaggeration, but you know. Yep, oops. Here you. Someone would use it. Someone would use it. I know someone would. It's kind of making some really good progress. Good. What are the motes? Sorry. Those are the Mote of Broken Time. You only get them at level 80, and you'll get them from all kinds of quests. Quests, raids, dungeons, the Eternus quests. They're very common. One really easy way to get them is by just doing regular quests. You get like 2 to 3 per quest. I think world quests can give them 2. So take that with a grain of salt. There you go.
There is only room for one control group in this experiment.
Basically what you get in your quest chest. Exactly, yeah. And the gear itself, though, I will say, is not what makes it super powerful. It's the artifact.
Target chip.
The limits on down button here. That is what really makes it powerful. For example, I was at 660 something, but with only 18 limits on down rank, and actually pretty dang weak. And hence why Silver and I super struggled, and a +2 when at our quote-unquote item level, we should have been doing pretty
Interesting.
good.
You've done your
So,
part. But
that's
I
the
still
hidden
can't find a way to...
power there is that. Item level helps too, it's not like it
many
doesn't.
fragments
It's just,
of myself
you know.
throughout this tower. Medivh,
So should I open them when I get them? Absolutely.
I will open the way.
There's no reason
while
not to,
you
in my
battle
opinion.
that fiend. I
Because
will
you won't
sever
get better
the
gear
tower's
until you do.
connection to Legion worlds.
Not unless you like do a
I
lot of raids.
suggest we be quick about it.
And even then, that only goes so high. Finally got to Fel and back for the Felscorn Regalia. Congrats, Steely! Congrats! No, I love that set. It's so gorgeous.
I have foreseen your
Interrupt 1.
our burning
Interrupt 2.
countless
I might have to
serve as a conduit to
slowly learning how to do
one battle
for all the questions. No good.
one final conquest.
Trying to say no worries and it's all good. No good. It's all good, doesn't it? Glowy green, absolutely. Get the glowy glowies.
Enough interruptions. The grand design must be realized.
Thank you for the lurk, Durabelia.
An infinite army will be brought
Got
forth.
dragged through a 3 days of the red transform. Nice. Now, ironically, the one
Interrupt 1.
These Doom Guards, they got some health. Goodness. Hello. Good gravy. Alright. Let's heal a little bit before we go do anything else. Clothes really are great. They are. I love all the colors, but I really want the gold one because, like, I can just take the cloak off and slap it on a paladin and suddenly it's paladin. So I like that there's the 4 different colors. The purple, red, green, and gold. Because it kinda covers most of the classes with those colors. For the most part. You know, if you squeegee it a little bit. Atu Azuna to get that done. Nice. Well, good luck. Do you unlock more than a limit of 1600 ancient mana after you did the Suramar campaign? I don't remember. I don't know. I think there is treasures related to it. I know that much. I think I have like 1800 or something. It looks like my max is 1800. But there's treasures and stuff that I know increase it. And we went after a couple of those. So definitely look around for treasures and things. Static ones, they're not random ones. How long did it take you to do each zone on average, Kraken? Oh, I have no idea. I didn't pay attention at all. Probably faster than normal because I was doing it with silver. So whatever the original times were for my testing, plus faster, plus silver, so... I don't know. I'd have to go look at the stream. That was 2K at least, I don't think we'll really need it for the max, I mean. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to go look at a character and add it all up. For the mana. I did everything and only had 1800, so... Oh, here's one. Oh, Suramar took about 11 hours, if that helps. At least the original zones. Technically, almost 20 when they added the new section. That one took forever. Good afternoon, Empress. How you doing? Welcome. Oh, we're slowly getting there. 11 hours of hella good story, though. Oh, absolutely. But if you've already done a billion times, it's like... It's a fantastic story, but I didn't really want to do it for the billionth time. Because, like, I did it on like, all classes when it was current, too. Because you had to, for various unlock reasons. So... I was like, I love this, but please, I don't want to do it again. I forgot how long it was, too. So I agree with you, but... I never did that. Yeah, that's fair. Good story, though. It is fantastic riding that we haven't seen in a long time, at least for me anyways. But I think I'm fairly picky with writing and story and whatnot. Feeding the refugees Ella Benti a billion times was tiresome. It was. It really was. Yep. Okay, here's one. There's one over here too. Oh, it's a couple of them. Get all of you. Beautiful. It's party! I think I just kept feeding the same one. Probably, I can see that. When that walks right by you. Same! I said as well, and the kid that's next to him. Just because they were right there. Kind of funny.
We are ready to begin. Remember, we are watching.
Alright. There's one. Oh, there's a crow over there.
I'm out of range.
Crow. Yeah. Slowly getting there. I'll be at 437 out of 500. I mean, that's pretty good. It's going a lot smoother now that I have a little bit more power in my belt. Helps. Alright, let's see here. Stumbled up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We proudly welcome you to this evening's feature. Tonight, a tale of romance and rage.
one which will prove once and for all, Luton is law. And the fair Bella falls in love with the Root, or will a ghastly curse claim the lives of the prince and his servants?
It is time for some comparative testing.
There goes another day of no horses disappointment. I feel you. I did that to start a stream. No horse for me even yet. We'll see if I get it this year.
Luminor, Mrs. Corbin, Magnets, let us disperse with these interlopers.
The master of this castle.
Only beauty can evolve. You didn't yell all the time. Yes, I'm sleeping in a street.
I don't yell all the time. Why do you always say that?
There you go again.
Yep, got it. Surprise.
Boy.
Interrupt.
100% done. Turn mark at the moment with the remix. Gear, achievements, transmog, collectibles,
Interrupt.
reputation.
Defensive.
A lot of it. That's kind of I'm sure they did. Can you say, basically say how much was the
Interrupt.
Yeah, I feel that. I love her a lot, but I haven't done much.
There is only room for one control
Interrupt.
in this
Oh,
experiment.
I had the other artifacts.
It
Did they?
The curse.
I haven't really been keeping up with the buffs and nerfs, to be honest. I picked Storm because I like
Our
lightning.
dinners together. Those hours in the library.
It's fun,
Oh,
so
Brute.
I pick it.
I love you.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to mosey on to the area.
Who are you?
Bella,
Buffy
it's
boys.
me.
It is you. Come, my love. Off to our
Typical all
happily
Elder
ever
races
after.
right now, I guess. Even then, they're getting very Illyria-fied next expansion, and I'm kind of not here for it. They won't be rocking the gold and purple anymore.
Face away.
A lot of them will be wearing silver and blue.
Face away.
Those are high elf colors. I mean, like, yeah, it's high elf.
Face away.
White elves, but not all of them. I don't know. So, like, I like the look. I just wish they had
The stench of corruption is upon you.
that. Oh yeah.
Face away.
A lot of them. I think it's one of those because a lot of the allied races feel like
Face away.
customization.
Interrupt.
Like if you remove that part of it, the ones that should customization are the allied races that are Ogre, Naga that are allies.
When two threads are spliced into each other,
Those
only one
Union.
can remain.
Instead, just like
Interrupt.
for a second, those are all in there, you probably feel a lot less pain. Because I feel like coffee process.
Hold, mortals! Open your hearts to virtue! I will never...
Sure, you can say that about the allied race. I'm like, whatever. I already had Nido. I don't know. One of
Our
those things,
friend
you know?
lies just in here.
Yeah, I guess it would give more story opportunities. It would, and to me, it would help explore the lore of like, is there something?
It breaks my heart
Of those other
to
races.
see it like this.
The master has
Like, imagine if
for
the,
quite some time.
I don't know, the ogres. The ogres joined the Horde as an allied race. We'd see more ogre representation.
May
We'd
we see
more
your
story with them.
invitation?
We'd still see more being done.
Run out.
Another year of
Variety
sleep.
for the Horde.
Shockwave.
Whereas right now you don't, because it's like, well,
That's our old
kind of more
friend. Is he trapped
I
in
don't know.
night?
Maybe that's just what Well, I guess I'll pop over to
It is time for some comparative testing.
Defensive.
I can see all the Argentine parts. I'm keeping that in. Yeah, I like the Argentina. I like where they're going with it. It's really cool. Because it's very like faction inclusive and faction neutral. After everything they've said about wanting to go so hard about keeping the faction hostility toward each other, it really feels a little disingenuous. So, I don't know. It's a little weird. That's assistance for sure. Same. I like that they're doing it.
Well, another group of thieves tried to...
It's harder to feel like they have a list of races that fans want from here. It's get larger.
Charging. Move.
And the funny thing is, Lillard has said repeatedly, well, it's because of
Charging.
like,
Move. Defensive.
And I know everyone likes to pick on the Dracula, bruh.
Charging.
Had this problem
Move.
with the Mechanomes.
1.
They can't mod pants properly. They can't mod
Charging.
boots. They
Move.
can't mod gloves. Yeah.
Defensive. Charging. Move.
They threw that away a decade ago.
Watch your step.
Still want Ron Cohen. They thought you
Watch your step.
the same.
Watch your step.
I'm always winning.
A lot of sharks out there.
Charging. Move. Charging. Defensive.
Give these guys
4. 3. Charging. Move.
not too much. I think.
Charging. Move. Defensive.
Fine. We'll put them in Murlocs.
Charging. Move.
That's it.
Was not whether you would be successful. It was whether you would be successful again.
Let me go. Oh, there is that one though.
I can't carry anymore.
I'll mosey my way over there after I kill this one. This is too many in a single group. I don't need all of these. I don't believe it's a MOG issue, especially if they're the Easter egg with such limited options. Right? And the Mechanomes before that. Mechanomes are that way too. They can only MOG about half the MOG stuff. Can we at least let me get the one I'm aiming for? Come on. Good grief. It's too much. Oh, this is ridiculous. Alright, getting out of here. Jeez, visions of Orgrimmar is so much easier than Stormwind. I do see it now, right? It's crazy, isn't it? I'm glad I'm not the only.
Our paths cross at last. Question everything. May possibilities be infinite. There is more than one way to solve any problem.